Now let's settle for the details. As the Electoral Commission begins its nationwide voter registration in less than an hour, its chairperson Jean Mensah has been defending the Electoral Commission's auction of biometric voter registration devices. This follows accusations by policy think tank Imani Africa of inappropriately disposing election-related equipment. Addressing journalists ahead of the voter registration exercise, Jean Mensah said expert assessments were conducted prior to the disposal of the equipment.
We refute allegations that the kits were in good condition and that they were auctioned clandestinely and secretly. We refute. The equipment manufacturers, the managers, the biometric consultants who had advised the commission and producers of similar devices, Laxton Limited, all indicated that the kits were obsolete and had reached end of life. And this is what led to their being auctioned. Indeed, if you look at in one of the correspondence from the managers, they said 47% of the BVRs had failure rate in the 2016 election, and they were saying that years later it was very likely that they would fail even more, and it would put our elections at risk. It is for that reason that the Commission took the prudent decision to auction the equipment. Thank you.
The registration exercise will be conducted in all 268 district offices of the Electoral Commission. Jean Mensah says the EC expects to register over 600,000 new applicants.
Mode of registration. Ladies and gentlemen, the registration will be for 21 days and it will include Saturdays and Sundays. All our district offices will have fixed teams ranging from 2 to 3 teams depending on the size of the district and the expectation of the number of registered voters to come through. The teams will work throughout the period in their offices. The mobile teams, as the name connotes, will move around from one electoral area to the next electoral area. They will spend 2 days in each electoral area and register qualified applicants in a particular electoral area, as well as the catchment area around that electoral area where they are at any given point. What this means is that once the mobile teams visit an electoral area, they will spend 2 days there. But you find that there are other electoral areas around there, and anybody who visits a particular electoral area from a nearby electoral area would be registered.
That was the commissioner, the head of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah. Away from that story, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, wants government to speed up negotiations with the IMF for the release of the third tranche of the extended credit facility within this fiscal year to stop the devaluation of the Ghana cedi. Ghana is expected to receive about $360 million as part of this tranche. President of GUTA, Dr. Joseph Obeng, said this move will bolster the cedi's value and alleviate the operational expenses for businesses across the country.
Well, I think that the government have to fast track on the third tranche of the IMF alone if we are able to get that and show up, and then also be able to identify the areas that make the capital flight, especially the foreigners in the retail trade and all that. They take a chunk. These China malls and China towns and all that, they now constitute about 40% of the trading in the country, and then they take it all out of the country without bringing the corresponding fund of import.
That was Dr. Joseph Obeng, the national president of GUTA. Still on trade, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center says the exit of multinational companies from the Ghanaian market could potentially create significant opportunities and spur growth for local businesses. The forecast comes against the backdrop of Societe Generale's decision to withdraw from the Ghanaian market and two others, namely Tunisia and Cameroon. Other companies like Glovo, Nivea, and Jumia Foods have also exited the Ghanaian market. Director of Investor Services at the GIPC, Edward Ashon Latte, encouraged local businesses to take advantage of this business opportunity.
Their going is not good news, but then, on the other hand, well, If Glovo set up the platform, maybe they had 1 or 2 Ghanaian employees working with them. They know the
systems.
Of the, So if they get support, why not? They can feel that vacuum, and so that is what I was. We still have confidence in the economy that and sometimes these exits even create opportunities for our wholly Ghanaian-owned companies.
You heard the Director of Investor Services of GIPC, Edward Ashong Latte. Away from that, development-oriented NGO, the Volta College Foundation, is turning to pig farming to augment its funds as it seeks to do more to support communities. Volta College, which operates in the Volta region, prioritizes the development of society by supporting the needy and less privileged. Since its creation, the group has embarked on donation projects in prisons, schools, and other organizations, while dependent on contributions from its members and donor support. But with dwindling donor support from NGOs and current economic conditions in the country, the organization is looking to generate funds to support its operations. Here is the chairman of the group, Mark Thompson Betty, speaking to Z News at the 5th anniversary launch of the Volta College Foundation.
We are embarking on some other projects that can help us sustain the foundation. One is the piggery project, that is the physical structure is ready. We are here to get the piglets and then we'll start rearing. We believe that having this piggery project in place, we can generate enough money to undertake this project so that we will not burden our members so much of contributing towards this project.
That was the head of the NGO. President of the Ghana Psychologists Association is urging organizations to adopt happy hour as a regular practice to boost employee well-being and productivity. According to Dr. Collins Beduajiman, the adoption of a happy hour can provide employees a much-needed break and opportunity to socialize with colleagues, leading to an improved mental health and job satisfaction. A recent research on the State of Global Workplace report by Gallup ranks Ghana as the 4th most stressful country for workers in sub-Saharan Africa. Dr. Ajiman wants Ghanaian companies to prioritize employees' well-being and help in settling differences.
Some organizations I have personally supported as a consultant, it will intrigue you, they have quarterly broadcasts where they dilate on different topical issues of concern that reduces the stress levels of employees. Some of these organizations we're talking about, they actually do certain things. There are some rituals that support reduction of employee stress. Happy hour moments, perhaps last Friday of every month. Supervisors and leaders showing the way, taking the lead, having conversations about ourselves without any figures or performance-driven conversation on board. So that is what I can say at the macro level, at the organizational level. Then I think at the team level, each team member must remember we spend about a third of our active working life at the workplace. So if you have 24 hours, about a third of the active part is spent at the workplace. It is about time we appreciate that, look, we need to work together because this is our home. Once you get to the workplace, it's more of a home than where perhaps our wife or husbands and children are, because the active part of our life is spent there. We need to create that enabling environment. We need to create that supportive culture to one another. And if you have such a conducive work climate, that in itself is inviting, is invigorating, and it strengthens everyone at the team level to be able to support everyone.
That was Dr. Collins Beduajiman speaking on the need for happy hour at the workplace. On the international front, 2 people have died and 53 are trapped in a multi-story building which was under construction in George, South Africa. Rescue teams are currently responding to the disaster, and authorities have confirmed that 22 individuals were rescued and hospitalized following the incident. Western Cape Premier Alan Wind reported that 75 construction workers were present when the building fell. The collapse, captured on CCTV, showed a massive cloud of dust at the moment of the disaster. Local councillor Teresa Ajayi described witnessing the collapse and her shock, saying it is very sad and traumatic. Police, alongside rescue teams with sniffer dogs, are actively searching for survivors, according to the provincial government. George Mayor Leon Van Wyck mentioned that rescuers are using sounds from the rubble to guide their efforts with additional rescue equipment and routes. That is all time will permit for the morning news here on Z101.9 FM. Before I leave a recap of the major stories. Electoral Commission Chair Jean Mensah dismisses claims of equipment auction as voter registration begins in an hour across the country. Guta calls on government to fast-track third tranche of IMF loan to stabilize the cedi. And the Ghana Investment Promotion Center says exit of multinational companies from the Ghanaian market will create more opportunities for local businesses. I am Saka Abdullahi. Jerry Ham continues with Zed in the Morning.
In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Z Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the new Finder newspaper, now under the Z Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Z Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure and business platform.
Every temptation that comes our way, we say thank you. To the God who abides with us through sunshine and rain, we say thank you. Good morning, lovely people. Welcome. 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 Welcome to your favorite experience in early morning radio. It's a show that is redefining an entire category. It's a show that keeps giving you more and more. We dare say it's more than a morning show. It's an experience in information and education and entertainment. Still exhilarating. Still captivating, still fascinating, still interested in the matters that are affecting you, dear listener. Still determined to go behind the news. Still determined to find out what really, really, really is happening right here in this beautiful country we call home. Yes, still heavily biased towards business. It's your LLB. Lifestyle, leisure, business. We're still holding on to that strong conviction that we serve you the very best of breakfast without the noise, without the rancor, but without the civility. This is the house of Zion. This is number 6 and 3rd Street, right at the heart of East Legon, Accra. This is Z101.9 FM. This is Zed in the Morning. Yeah, I am Jerry Home. In the first hour of this experience, We go through the major news portals and the newspapers to find out what the headlines are saying. We review a couple of them all through to 6:50. At 6:50, Niakwe, the sportscaster, comes your way. How did Manchester United fare at Crystal Palace? Niakwe will bring us all the results. Taking us to the top of the hour 7 for business news. In the second half of the show, we take on the top story of the day, bringing you different angles to the same story that you've heard of. In the third hour, 8 to 9, we've started a new series. Are you aware? Tell somebody to tell somebody. Doing Business in Ghana series is started here right on Zed Talk. Yesterday, we hosted the Director of Investor Services at the Ghana Investment Promotion Council, Mr. Edward Ashon Lati. Today on Zed Talk between the hours of 8 and 9. Still doing business in Ghana. This time we're taking it from the entrepreneurs angle. We'll be talking to some entrepreneurs. Then in the last hour of the show, today is Tuesday. What are Tuesdays? Health and Wellness Tuesdays. We'll be talking to a doctor on that spot. High blood pressure. From the herbal angle. Oh, it's a show you don't want to miss today. Keep your dial right here. Zed in the morning. We're on and on and on.
In the heart of Accra, nestled in the vibrant neighborhood of East Legon and New Beacon, a 360 multimedia firm has emerged. Introducing Zed Multimedia. With a steadfast focus on lifestyle, leisure, and business, we set out to bring high-value oriented programs that captivate the taste and desires of our audience. From the captivating airwaves of Zed 101.9 FM to the dynamic visuals of Zed TV and the innovative realms of Zed Digital and the incubation of advanced technological knowledge at Zed Tech, every facet of modern media is meticulously curated to engage and inspire. Also, let's not forget the new Finder newspaper, now under the Zed Multimedia umbrella, delivering insightful journalism with a business focus. Join us on the journey where innovation meets inspiration, where lifestyle meets leisure, and where business thrives. Change is here. Zed Multimedia, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform.
voice of Kofi Osudia Anto Koda. The late. Now he's almost the late. He's the late. Sorry if I reminded you of his sad times, but great musician by all standards. Koda made a way. God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He made a way, so he will make a way. If he's done it before, nothing stops him from doing it again. He's God. Yesterday, today, and forever. Still God. Okay, so it's news headlines and reviews. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Hey. Is it that I saw you running? What happened?
No, I think I just went for my phone so that I can get some more of the papers. Some of the papers that we don't have here. I will go for those ones that we don't have the hard copies.
So good morning, and good morning again.
Morning.
Morning. Thank you for coming through. We have Mr. Elvis Daku himself running a helter-skelter on a morning like this.
What can we do?
What can we do? Mr. Kobe AG.
Yes.
Policy analyst. Big man.
Happy to be here.
Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
What are the people saying?
Yeah, we start the morning with the new finder. Minister receives report on divesting of state lands.
Okay.
Voter registration starts today. Limited voter registration. Preparation for December 2024. Information Minister designates media houses, and the big one says GIPC lists 3.8 billion projects from 62 Ghanaian companies registered in 2023. Okay. Moves to address exit of foreign companies.
Okay.
I have the Daily Statesman. The headlines includes Baumia says, I am ready to lead with all my heart. Osafo says, public sector reform is very necessary. And then UC targets 623,000 voters in limited registration exercise.
Okay, on the front page of the New Crusading Guide, I'm ready to serve Ghana. That's from Baumia. Imani petitions charge to investigate EC's disposal of election-related equipment. Help protect indigenous people. That's a Dollywood to UN. OSP cleared Cecilia Dapo of corruption, not AG. That's from Dami. Kwewu Afram Plain South farmers demand independent pathologies over Tumfo's death. And Kotobabi Roman Ridge get new chiefs. That's the front page of the New Crusading Guide.
I have the Daily Guide, and it says Iyoko to return OSP's empty Dapa docket. Limited voter registration begins today. I'm ready to lead. Baumia. 1 injured, multiple vehicles destroyed in rainstorm. And VIP proposes tax amnesty. That is the Daily Guide.
The Ghanaian Chronicle says Titus Grover orders private developers to quit Densu Ramsar site. Fatimatu, the information minister, Fatimatu Abubakar, tours media houses in Accra. And then who is hiding the truth? National Security Ministry says he is not their employee, but charges sheet says he is.
Okay. On the front page of the Daybreak, the Diasu LPG tanker accident. No life lost in LPG tanker accident. Michael Addo again caught in snitch scandal in court here. GRA board dissolved. There's a question from the front page of the Daybreak. City depreciation has been lower under MPP government. That's coming from Baumia. And port truck drivers call off strike. That's the front page of the Daybreak.
I have the Inquirer. It says LGBTQ plus case could be heard next year. Bill process won't start new under a new government. Has anyone seen finance minister recently? The paper is asking. The Inquirer.
The fourth page of the Ghanaian Chronicle says politicians should allow the police to do their work. And then the IGP says we will supervise 2024 election with maximum security. Committee submits report on divesting of vested lands to the states.
Okay. On the front page of the Graphic Business, maintain tight monetary policy. That's IMF cautions central banks. Grey goods surge threatens local industry profits. Harnessing sub-Saharan Africa's wealth and critical minerals. And then financial performance of listed equities in Q1. That's the front page of the graphic business.
I have the anchor. So rainstorm wreaks havoc in Accra. 8 vehicles mangled, 1 person injured. Kwadaso MP denies grades for sex. We have Ghana's dancing queen, Abigail and Afronita Wow judges. Imani drags EC to Shraj, and the victim of Asanko Tonto Krum clash goes home today. That is the anchor newspaper.
The front page of the Ghanaian Times. Ghana Meteorological Service forecasts heavy rains and thunderstorms to the end of July. Government to license 2 more automobile companies. Ban on drumming takes effect from today.
Okay, and then let me go online to pick some stories. NorthernReports.com, the top stories here. Ecobank Ghana parent company records $2.1 billion net revenue and $531 million profit before tax. $531 million profit before tax. Casapreco records 259% YOY growth in net profit for Q1 2024 as the year-on-year growth. And then the last one is value of traded equity surge to 1,737% as local bourse records all-time high capitalization of 80.3 billion Ghana cedis in April. Then also online, BBC reports the major story on BBC.com is Israel criticizes Gaza truce terms, but talks go on. It talks about Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu saying that the deal that Hamas has accepted does not meet Israel's key demands. And so those are the online stories.
I have the Metro Lens. Rains cause havoc in Accra. I am ready to serve Dr. Baumia to Ghanaians. Stop whining and do your work. Sami Jimfi tells the OSP. These are some of the stories on the front page of the Metro Lens newspaper.
The Daily Statesman has on its page 6, it says low purchases frustrating domestic automakers.
Okay. And then City Newsroom also reports, and the big story here has to do with the Electoral Commission's limited voter registration exercise that is beginning today. Mr. Daku.
Yes.
The way you had to run for the phone. Interesting. Let's pick the last one. The last one coming from our own Zed Online, zmultimedia.com. GIPC registers 3.8 billion projects, and then there is an entertainment story about High Life star Aquabua ties the knot. Yes, sir. Mr. Kobienji.
Yes. I have focused on disability in the former voter region. The Daily Dispatch.
Okay. So, Mr. Daku.
Well, I will start my day with the GIPC story. And I think the GIPC story is encouraging that we have seen companies that are owned by Ghanaians, which are projects actually registered with GIPC last year, valued at $3.8 billion. We all say that if Ghanaians own the economy will do well.
Okay.
Then the Ghana Investment Promotion Center is concerned about the departure of the companies from the country and has initiated engagements to address the underlying factors. Despite this negative trend, there is a positive news as 62 wholly owned Ghanaian companies with a total investment value of approximately 3.8 billion registered with the center in 2023. This contrasts with the 122 international business registered within the same period, with the investment volumes totaling 649.58 million. For me, the fact that we are having more Ghanaians register companies, which means that Ghanaians are now going to own the country, is very important. And this is happening at a time that we are also complaining about the fact that some companies are actually leaving the country. And I think that if Ghanaians will take advantage and own the country, that is where the prosperity we say we want to build for ourselves will happen. However, these companies also that are leaving some of the country, the recent one is SG. and it has generated a lot of controversy. And when I check around, it turns out that SG is leaving Africa not because Ghana's economy has any much of is the problem. Ghana's economy has a problem, and businesses have issues with how we handle our taxation and so many other things. But this SG exit, in actual fact, it has nothing to do with what the problems of the economy has in terms of its impact on businesses. It's a decision by the company to leave a lot of the African markets, and they have already left. In fact, when the new CEO took office last year, he made a decision that they were going to leave countries like Congo, Brazzaville, Equatorial Guinea, Mauritania, and Chad. And just April this year, they also announced the decision to leave Morocco. And then the new one we are hearing is about Ghana, Cameroon, and even Tunisia. And when you look at the decision, Fitch is saying that, look, what is happening, that these banks are leaving the African continent, is good news for the continent, in the sense that local indigenous banks can now take advantage of the space and own the system. And if you look at what Fitch has actually written about the exit of SG, it says, Fitch pointed out that divested subsidiaries face several challenges as their parents' risk appetite has been lower than local competitors. In addition, the exit of highly rated foreign shareholders is also credit negative for the subsidiaries. Increasing competition among Pan-African banking groups should boost credit growth to the continent, because that's the way some of these foreign banks are structured. There are certain types of credit that the African economy needs, and most of these foreign banks actually are not able to offer because they've not structured their products to meet the needs of the local market, because they came from Europe and they have ways they think things have to be done. Meanwhile, the entrance of local banks have actually come with some of these innovative products that the ordinary people on the continent can actually associate with. And therefore, they believe that if these companies are leaving the continent, we shouldn't be worried, because we saw Barclays sold all its shares in Africa, PNB Paribas, BPCE, and Credit Agricole have all reduced their interest on the African continent. Though people fear that, why should they be leaving, because these are like multinational banks. Fitch is rather of the view that they are leaving is rather good news for the continent, and the continent can rather take advantage for local banks to take advantage. But Fitch also make the recommendation that smaller banks on the continent should also think about merging to form bigger banks so that they can actually have the capital needed.
Yeah, but I mean, yesterday when Mr. Sean Latte was on the show as part of our Doing Business in Ghana series, he was there day one. He actually also said the same thing, that their leaving should actually provide an advantage for
serve as an incentive.
Exactly, for those local. So it's quite important that we take it the way it is. The problem, however, is that in this very country, you want to politicize everything.
Yes.
So Glovo is leaving. It means that somebody is not performing because of that the economy. What is this?
And SG is leaving. DDEP cost banks a lot of pain just 2022. 2022 results have shown that the same bank that made all the losses, all of a sudden have become profitable. EcoBank has made profits worth almost $1 billion. Access Bank has declared over $1 billion. Zenith Bank has declared over $1 billion. So clearly, if you are in a sector and you are having challenges, and your competitors in the same sector, in the same economy, are posting such profits, obviously, you have to look at your operations, not necessarily because the economy is the problem. When the economy is the problem, then all of you in the sector should be having similar challenges. But if your competitors are doing so well and you are not doing well, then obviously we cannot really just say it's purely because of the economic challenges. So I think we should stop this idea once we hear that some company wants to leave.
Glovo is leaving.
And then the problem is that, the economy is the problem.
Fortunately for us, the entities that are leaving have similar models running. Nivea is gone, Glovo is gone, but you have a company that is working just like Glovo is doing.
And yesterday, Mr. Sean Latte was saying, listen, these guys, although they were foreign, had Ghanaian managers and Ghanaians at the top hierarchy. So they would have learned something about the way the business is running.
And run it. And all you have to do is get their platform and then run your own business on that same platform.
So if the business model of a company is not delivering the results for them in Ghana or in any Africa, and they are not willing to change, they want to stick to the way they do things from their country, which they brought here, and for that reason they are not making the necessary impact they want to leave, I don't think that we should be blaming the economy. Generally, we all are in this country when some years back, some of these multinationals, if you own an account there and you have money, and for a year you didn't touch it, but then the money is finished, they tell you that they paid this social service charges and the money is gone.
Of course.
It took Nigerian banks to come to Ghana and say, you can even open an account without paying a personal one. And they brought a lot of changes into the banking sector. And if not for the interest of the Nigerian banks, a lot of the products and services and innovations that we are seeing in the Ghanaian banking sector clearly wouldn't have seen it, because these banks have been with, some of them have been with us from Gold Coast. But they've been doing things the way they do it in their country for so many years until other African banks decided that, look, we can come to Ghana and change how things are done. And now we have seen a lot of transformation in the banking sector. And we should say that if African banks are actually coming with products that are targeted at Africans, and actually know that if a small tabletop company say, I need a loan to do a business, he will not have the collateral. Is there a way to be able to support that person in a small way that the person can exist? These are some of the things that this
so the exit should not be a problem.
Yes, and sometimes the entry requirements in terms of tax, they are giving moratorium at the capital that they bring. If you go to GIPC, all foreign investment have a minimum threshold of tax that they should do. So when they spend a number of years where they have the moratorium and then they have to pay certain tax because their base has increased, they find it problematic. Instead of paying the tax, now they want to
let's go
to another country and go where the tax, the initial stages will give them some.
But you see, as much as this becomes an advantage for local businesses, a business desk report in the graphic business today actually has gotten me worried, where it's talking about grey goods surge threatens local industry profits. And what it is saying is that the depreciation of the naira is making something happen on the West African coast. We're now shopping, people are now, they call them clandestine business, are now shopping in Lagos and taking it to Cameroon and Ghana.
Yes.
And that is threatening
local
industry. Of course. I mean,
the newspapers,
yeah,
most of our printing materials like films and the rest, people import it to Nigeria because the depreciation of the currency and the system, and then they find their way
into Ghana, into Cameroon.
So they are able to make more profit if they go through that route to get the products into Ghana than rather bringing it direct into Ghana, because if it gets to the Tema port, it means that all the duties that you are supposed to pay and the rest. So there's a lot of business actually happening between Ghana and Nigeria corridor that we have not paid attention to because of the devaluation of the currency. And they also come here and buy the dollar and go to Nigeria. And then once you buy the dollar from Ghana to Nigeria, you have made so much money on just exchange rates.
Now the other angle of the influx is that the instability, Niger, Mali, they imported goods. That because of the global transshipment challenges delayed, and now that they have challenges in there, some of them are doing sales of
they left it
right here, not to move it all the way to the north. So apart from Nigeria ones coming, you have all these imports coming to Ghana. They don't move out like initially they plan to move those.
But that should be a worry to the local industries.
Yeah, of course, and this is why we talk about protectionist policies for local industry. Nobody is saying that people shouldn't compete with our local product, but we should have regimes that make sure that if such imports are brought in and we have companies in Ghana that produce same, the imported ones should be very expensive so that it drives us to go and buy the local ones. But if the imported ones will end up being cheaper than the ones that are imported and are to produce in Ghana, then obviously the local market will die. And that is why I'm happy that the government eventually scrapped the benchmark policy. Because what the benchmark policy was, it was killing local industry, because you do a blanket application of the policy to all products, irrespective of which one is produced in Ghana. So then the goods are imported, they become cheaper than the Ghanaian products. So local industries were dying. Yeah. So obviously, we look at the fact that if you allow these kind of things into our system, we don't have regulated system to make sure that we are not saying you can't bring a product to Ghana. But if you are going to bring it, that we have local products of same in Ghana, we'll make sure that the tax component on your import makes it so expensive that the ordinary Ghanaian can buy.
But Mr. Laku, that is at the recognized entry point, yes, the ports. But the great goods story here, Charlie, it's coming from here, your area. It's coming from your area.
The point is that if a lot of things you can't say already, but if you look at our if you look at our borders, okay,
yes, porous borders are one of the things here.
Ghana's borders,
clearly,
we are unable to really police our entire borders. And that opens a lot of avenues for people to smuggle things in through other means. At the same time, truth also is that some of these officials at the borders actually will accept something and let goods without paying duty into the country.
Something small.
Yes, of course. So
yes,
that is why we
at
need to put more technology
at the policy level. You don't have the law well clearly stated in terms of protecting your indigenous business because of the kind of compact that we sign with the international agencies. A typical example is what is happening in the cocoa sector. We joined Ivory Coast so that we have a solid front in selling cocoa. What Switzerland is doing now is that before they pay you the gate fee money that they have prescribed earlier, they are coming to check whether or not that cocoa is coming from a land that has been depleted through Galamsey or not. If you bring in this kind of policy, even though you have the agreement earlier with them, now they do that, you are becoming stronger in terms of what you are dictating to them. They go behind you to bring their policy that you cannot really challenge them, because when they come to your farm, actually kids are working. Some of the land has been destroyed by Galamsey, and yet you are using it for cocoa, which they say they don't want you to do. And then the policy becomes a tool to rather dictate to you.
And if we can add value to our cocoa, Switzerland and co will now beg for the cocoa beans. So that is why we all have to. That's what I'm saying. I'm happy that we have 100% owned Ghanaian companies registered with GIPs that want to do business in Ghana to the tune of 3.8 billion. What we need is this kind of investment in the country that are owned by Ghanaians. If we can add value to our things, what else do we need?
You know, the problem with grey goods, right, are the fact that they are not fake.
No,
they are not counterfeit.
They are just
they are the original brands.
Of course.
So when they land in the market,
yeah, they dodge the duties, and it's the duties that will make them unattractive to you, because then they become expensive.
Anyway,
so if they ended up dodging the duties, it means that they can even sell at prices that may be lower than what is produced in Ghana, and that is the challenge. So they become like a dumping grounds for goods like that, and then you have your product on the market the same, but then the one imported is cheaper than the one you are producing.
And it's all the list. The list includes a lot of soaps and Indomie and things.
Typical example happened in Kenya.
Yeah.
You know, when Egypt imports a lot of wheat from Ukraine.
Okay.
When the issues happened, there was a lot of backlog of this imported stuff. So what they did, they diverted it to Kenya. Kenyans realized that what they were going to Egypt was much quality than what they were getting initially. Now they were confused because of the same porous borders around countries that people bring in goods that doesn't go through the normal channels.
And people talk about protectionist policy. Have we followed the Ukraine war and the impact that is often in trade? Ukraine is unable to sell its grain. Now the grains ends up in the European market, and European farmers, they will not allow the Ukraine grains to be sold in their country because it's become cheaper and it will destroy European farmers.
Yeah.
And it has become a major issue that grains from Ukraine now are locked up in many countries that cannot be sold. Some of the cases are even in court against government why they are allowing those Ukraine grains to come and sell in their country cheaper, because if that happens, it means that the farmers in those countries will lose out. So you have to understand that protection policies is not a crime. It's about how you go about it, because these countries have pacts with their government to make sure that they sell at a certain price to be able to recover their cost. And therefore, if grains from Ukraine is coming in and it's cheaper, they are fighting their government. So why can't we have policies that make sure that the Ghanaian produced product has some competitive advantage in terms of price over the imported ones?
Anyway, moving on.
All right, moving on. I will take EC begins limited voter registration today. Targets 623,000 new entrants.
Okay.
My interest in that is that this time around the limited registration has 3 weeks within which it's going to be done. Then the other incentive that the EC has also brought is the mobile van that will go round the areas to just mop up areas that did not get to go through the mainstream, which I think is a very good thing to help the system catch up more of the new entrants on the voter register.
So what we are saying is they should go and register.
Yeah.
If you don't have a voter ID card, go and register so that you can vote.
Everybody has to register. It's our right to determine which government leads us, which policy direction within the country must go. It depends on the vote we cast, and it's important that every Ghanaian understands that if you cast a vote, you are determining the direction the country should go. Don't sit on the fence, fail to vote, And then when people go to vote, they determine which government should govern as them. And then you sit somewhere and you are shouting on top of your voice. That is not how we do it in a democracy. In a democracy, go out there, show that this is what I want, and vote for it. I also want to just read the issue of this minister receiving report on divesting of state lands. This is a very, very controversial and important issue. And I'm hoping and praying that the report itself will one day be released to all of us. We all will have to know who actually bought which state land and at what price. Because the states took lands from chiefs that we are going to use for purposes of the country's progress. And then from politician to politician, once their parties are in government, they find ways of selling these prime lands to family and friends and cronies at ridiculous prices. And they own all this. And the sad aspect is that while they are owning all this for their private use, not for state use, the actual owners of the land become poor. And meanwhile, the law says that if the state acquires the land for a purpose, and the land will not be used for that purpose again, the land is supposed to return to the original owners of the land. However, politicians and powerful people in this country have found out that the acquired lands, especially in Accra, are in very vantage point. And not only in Accra, when I went to Kumasi the last time, I was shocked. The ministries areas, all the old buildings, they have seen that all of them have been broken up, and the estates are popping up. It means that they have all been sold to private people. They have all been sold to private people.
What I will recommend is that the chieftaincy institution itself should stand up now. Because like he quoted, the constitution states clearly that when the state acquires a land and it's vested in the state, and the state doesn't use for the purpose for which it was acquired, it goes to the people. Now, if you have a policy that is going to be given to the government, we are going to expect or hope that this land that has been taken back from the state to the chieftaincy institution should go back to the areas where they were taken from, to the people that had it long before the lands were taken from them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kobian Chief, for that strong point on this land matter. We'll come back to it, Mr. Elvis Daku. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming through. It's 6:50. Z Sports with Niakwe, the sportscaster.
Here's Mensah. This is positive. Williams. Kudos! The Korean joy did not last for long.
Oh my gosh, Kudos, the piranha from Guyana.
Right, so time check, exactly 6:50 in the morning, and it's Zed in the Morning. Niakwe, the sportscaster, is the name. Coming up in our headlines this morning, the GFA has had the case against them dismissed by the Court of Arbitration for Sports. Manchester United yesterday were humiliated as Michael Olise inspired Crystal Palace to a rout at the Selhurst Park. And Borussia Dortmund take a 1-0 lead. It's halftime in the UEFA Champions League semi-final into the second leg of their UEFA Champions League semi-final at Paris Saint-Germain tonight. All right, so still on a high from the athletic achievement from the 4x100 relay team of Ghana. We start off with that particular story. Sprinter Joe Paul Amoah is pleased with the relay team's qualification to the 2024 Olympic Games. Ghana's men's 4x100 relay team secured their ticket, as I mentioned yesterday, to the Paris Olympic Games with an outstanding performance on day 2 of the World Athletics Relays in the Bahamas. Remember, they ran a time of 38.29, just 200 shy of the national record. Of course, that is coming into context, and they are looking at fine margins because they have improved tremendously from the last 2 years, and we still have 2 members of that particular team. Joe Paul Amoah is still in there, and Benjamin Azamati also in there. Looking at the times, it looks like a feasible one because we are hoping they can actually get a medal. The African record for the 4x100 still remains. South Africa went Akambi Sibine actually powered them home in 2019 in Doha. Joe Paul Amoah spoke to the press.
I was very, very impressed with the time. You know, having a season best is always something that as athletes we wish for. You know, having a season best means that's the fastest you run the whole season. Obviously in Ghana, we ran 38.4 and then we ran 38.29 with a pretty different team this time. So I was very impressed. And, you know, having the new guys on the team and being able to do this, I just feel like it's a stepping stone to something great coming. Qualification for the Olympics is very amazing, and we can't ask for anything better than this, honestly. We just can't wait to, you know, get even more prepared and go in there and you know, showcase our talent even more.
Remember, the national record for the team Ghana it was held since 2022. It was 38.08 seconds. Before then, it was 38.08. Now it's 38.07. And actually, it looks like they are in a position to better that achievement. Last time out, when they made that run, Sean Safo made a blistering start with a time of 10.84 seconds. Benjamin Azamati clocked 9.04. Odromenu on the third leg delivered 9.27 and finished off, of course, by Joe Paul Amoah with 8.92 seconds. That means that they can actually improve on the times. It is doable, but the dream record still remains the world record held by Team Jamaica. Nesta Carter on lead leg, Michael Frater on the back straight, Johan Blake obviously on the top bend, and then Usain Bolt on the anchor leg. 36.84 seconds. That one still stands. All right, moving on away from athletics and back home. Georgia Free's attempt to overturn his disqualification from the 2023 Ghana Football Association presidential election has been unsuccessful. The Court of Arbitration for Sport has upheld the initial decision made by the election committee, solidifying Keto Kweku's position as the president of the GFA for a second term uncontested. Free's disqualification stemmed from his submission of flawed endorsement documents for his candidacy. Specifically, he utilized an uncertified individual, namely Jeffrey Asari, to sign the papers. All right, in our third story, Mohamed Kudus will be working under a new manager at West Ham United from next season after the club confirmed that David Moyes will depart at the end of the Premier League season. Moyes played a crucial role in the Ghana International, joining the Hammers from Ajax on a 5-year deal, but he will depart with former Wolves boss Jurgen Lopetegui set to take over. Moyes faced mounting pressure after a string of poor results, including Sunday's 5-0 defeat by Chelsea, a match in which Kudus set an impressive Premier League record. The Scot returned for his second spell at the club in December 2019 and led them to Europa Conference League success last season, their first major trophy in 43 years. All right, now to the international front. Erik ten Hag insists that he's still the man for the Man United job, despite watching his Manchester United side suffer a humiliating 4-0 defeat to Crystal Palace. After Newcastle and Chelsea's weekend wins dropped United to 8th, Ten Hag's side needed to produce a response in their bid for European qualification. Instead, Crystal Palace sealed the first league double over the Red Devils at the Sellers Park, and they made it crystal clear that Manchester United were not leaving the Palace alive. Erik ten Hag spoke after the game.
It's clear and it's obvious. This is underperforming, and we didn't act how we want to do it, and it's by far not good enough. So yeah, we are very disappointed by this, and the fans were all the way behind us, and we should have keep fighting like the fans did. So there are always reasons. Everyone see our back line, and there we have huge problems. But yeah, in the end of the day, we have to deal with it, and then we should have done better than as we did. I will keep fighting, and I prepared the team in the best way I could do, It was not good enough, by far not good enough. I have to take the responsibility for that, but I will find energy and I will prepare them for Sunday game. He is my surround board, he will be, but by the end of the day, I have to do it with the players who are available. Absolutely. And if the right players are there, so available, we have a good squad, but we miss almost the whole back line, and then we have problems.
All right, so injury is a problem for Manchester United, but what a point to be a Manchester United fan at this moment, myself inclusive. It's disastrous at the moment, and hopefully Sir Jim Ratcliffe will bring a new direction to the club. Now, still on that game, Olivier Glasner was delighted with his Crystal Palace players for their collective display in the win over Manchester United, but quickly turned his attention to further improvement. The Eagles were the better team from minute 1 to minute 90, with goals from Michael Olise, Jean-Philippe Mateta, Tyrick Mitchell, and it could have been more on a memorable night for Palace. He spoke to the press after the game.
Congrats to the team for the win and for this 4-0 at home against Man United. I think the first half we didn't really play well how we could, so it was not that consequent in defense. We opened the middle too often and they could find the pockets, and we had a little bit of problems, but we were very efficient, so we scored very nice goals. But then at halftime, we made 2-3 adaptations and the players listened again, and then I think second half it was much better. We had much more control of the game. We created a lot of chances. We scored nice goals. So, but it's all we were a little bit more consequent in our basics, and so it's a great win. And congrats to the team.
All right, so in our penultimate story, weightlifter Alexander Pilishenko, who represented Ukraine at the Rio 2016 Olympics, has died during the conflict with Russia. Two-time European champion Pilishenko joined the armed forces soon after Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. According to the National Olympic Committee of Ukraine, Pilishenko died on the front line. The Ukrainian Weightlifting Federation also added he was ranked 4th at the Rio Games in the 85 kilograms category and won gold at the European Championships in 2016 and 2017. Our condolences to his family. And finally, it's the UEFA Champions League semi-final second leg. PSG are home and have a big task. What a Herculean task this is to overturn a 1-0 aggregate result. 90 minutes played and another 90 minutes to go at the Parc des Princes, and Paris Saint-Germain could just about enter their second UEFA Champions League final. It promises to be fireworks. Remember to keep your dials locked to Z101.9 for all the updates, or follow us via social media handles ZFMGH on all platforms. We'll be back tomorrow with a bigger and more explosive edition. The business segment is up next, and remember, until then, the message is always simple but golden. Do not count the days, whatever happens. Make the days count.
This is positive. Williams, Kudus, the Korean joy did not last for long.
Oh my gosh, Kudus, the piranha from Guyana.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM. You're tuned in to Zed 101.9 FM. Your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Hello and welcome to the business news segment here on Zed in the Morning. I am Saka Abdullahi. Coming up in this segment, after Secretariat and ZPA develop portal to enhance intra-African trade. Natural Resource Governance Institute empowers media, CSOs to fight corruption in critical minerals industry. And on the international front, Boeing faces new inquiry over 787 inspection doubts. Let's delve in. ZPA Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of Zenith Bank PLC, has signed an agreement with African Continental Free Trade Area after Secretariat for the development and deployment of Smart After Portal to facilitate trade within the African continent. The agreement, which was signed by the chairman of Zipe Limited, Dr. Ebenezer Oyengu, and the Secretary General of AFTA Secretariat, Mr. Wamkele Mene, in Lagos, Nigeria, comes as a follow-up to the Memorandum of Understanding previously signed by both parties during the 8th annual edition of Zenith Bank's International Trade Seminar on non-oil exports. Chairman of Zenpay Limited, Mr. Oyengu, expresses enthusiasm for the collaboration with the AFTA Secretariat, highlighting its significance given the current understanding of trade flows in Africa. In Africa, intra-African trade constitutes only 20% of total trade, with the rest going overseas, despite Africans making up to 18% of the world population, but contributing less than 5% to global GDP. By trading within Africa, we anticipate building prosperity across the continent. Away from that, later this morning, not-for-profit organization, the Natural Resource Governance Institute, will equip anti-corruption actors, media professionals, and civil society organizations with the necessary skills and knowledge to identify, prevent, and combat corruption in critical minerals industry in Ghana. Experts and analysts in the extractive sector say profound political factors undermine efforts to fight corruption and achieve greater transparency in the extractive industries. Here's a desk report prepared by the Zed business team.
Corruption in the mining sector can have devastating impacts on the environment, human rights, and the economy. High profits, complex supply chains, and lack of transparency make the mining sector particularly vulnerable to corruption, and the heightened demand for minerals that are essential for the energy transition, such as lithium, further complicates this picture. Booming demand may lead to riskier behavior from both private and public sector actors, leading to fast-tracked contracts with harmful consequences for communities and the environment. The extraction and trade of transition minerals is often complex and involves multiple stakeholders, generating opportunities for bribery, embezzlement, and fraud. According to the Triple Win report published by the Natural Resources Governance Institute, 70% of African countries with transition minerals reserves rank in the bottom half of indices measuring corruption. Anti-corruption actors in Ghana should therefore be alert to the risk posed by new mining development. It is crucial for government, companies, and civil society to work together to prevent and combat corruption in the mining sector and promote transparency, accountability, and sustainable development. To empower anti-corruption actors in this work, the NRGI has developed an adaptable research and advocacy tool, recently relaunched with new insights from experiences in 5 countries diagnosing corruption in the extractive sector. A tool for research and action outlines 7 steps that help users engage on sensitive topics, identify and understand major corruption issues, develop multi-stakeholder participation and support, and build and implement action plans to prevent future corruption. The training will cover various topics, including the types of corruption in the industry, the causes and consequences of corruption, and the best practices for diagnosing and preventing corruption.
That was a desk report by the Z business team on corruption in the critical minerals industry. Away from that, trading session yesterday saw a downturn in the Ghanaian stock market as both the composite index and the financial stock index closed lower, exerting downward pressure on overall market performance. Simultaneously, the cedi depreciated against major currencies, including the dollar, euro, and pound sterling in trading activities. Tesa Capital, a leading financial analysis firm, sheds light on the performance of the Ghanaian financial markets during the first trading day of this week.
Welcome to a recap of the markets, brought to you by Tesa Capital Limited. The Ghanaian stock market began the week on a downward trend, with both the composite index and the financial stock index closing lower as compared to the previous session. The GSE composite index concluded the day at 3,648.50 points, representing a slight decline of 0.05% from Friday's level. Similarly, The GSE Financial Stock Index settled at 2,040.76 points, marking a decrease of 0.18%. Market capitalization also experienced a marginal dip of 0.02%, closing at 79.9 billion cedis by the end of the trading day. In terms of individual stock performance, CAL and SIC, both financial stocks, saw declines in their share prices. CAL's share price plummeted by 7.89% to 35 pesos per share, while SIC experienced a 4% drop, closing at 24 pesos per share. Conversely, the exchange-traded fund, GLD, saw a positive movement with a 0.96% increase in its share price, reaching 314 cedis per share. Market activity, as measured by traded volume, witnessed a significant surge of 186% compared to the previous session. MTN Ghana emerged as the most actively traded stock of the day, capturing 97.07% of the total volume traded. By the session's end, a total of 1,647,140 shares were exchanged, amounting to a total of 2,826,768 Ghana cedis. At the start of the week in the forex market, the Ghanaian cedi persisted in its decline against the three major currencies. It experienced a depreciation of 0.41% against the US dollar, 0.57% against the British pound, and 0.46% against the euro. According to the mid-rates furnished by the Bank of Ghana, the cedi wrapped up trading at 13 cedis 47 pesos against the US dollar, 16 cedis 93 pesos against the British pound, and 14 cedis 51 pesos against the euro. This brings our review to an end, and from all of us at Tessa Capital, make it a great day. Visit us online at www.tessacapital.com or call us on 050-154-6859 for more information. Tessa Capital, grow your wealth.
We thank Tessa Capital for providing us with that comprehensive analysis of the market. In some international news, the U.S. has opened a new inquiry into troubled jet firm Boeing after the company told air safety regulators that it might not have properly inspected its 787 Dreamliner planes. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, said it would look into whether staff had falsified records. It said Boeing was re-inspecting all 787 jets still on the manufacturing line. Boeing will be forced to develop an action plan to address concerns about planes already in service, it added. Boeing did not comment. Internally, it told staff last week that the misconduct had not created an immediate safety or flight issue, according to a message seen by the BBC. It is the latest problem to erupt at Boeing since January, when an unused emergency exit door blew off a new 737 MAX 9 plane shortly after takeoff, thrusting its manufacturing and safety processes into the spotlight. The incident prompted the temporary grounding of dozens of planes and has forced the firm to drastically slow production while sparking increased regulatory oversight, criminal investigation, and other legal and financial troubles. That is all we have for the business news segment here on Zed in the Morning. Before I go, a recap of the leading stories. After Secretariat and ZenPay develop portal to enhance intra-African trade. Natural Resource Governance Institute empowers media, CSOs, to fight corruption in critical minerals industry. And Boeing faces new inquiry over 787 inspection doubts. I am Saka Abdullahi. Jerry Ham continues with the show.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Giving away fabulous prizes, and all you have to do is share your favorite mom's story in 50 words or less. Whether she's your rock or your guiding light, WhatsApp your entries to 0544 321019 before May 9, 2024, and let's make this Mother's Day one for the books. It's sponsored by Sonotech Medical and Diagnostic Center and Best Western Premier Accra Airport Hotel.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio LLB. Yeah, it's a top story. Within this hour, we tackle the top trending stories of the day. Yeah, but before we go into the top story, it's important that we make this very big birthday announcement. Very Beverly, I've done it right. Have a wonderful day, Beverly, of the front desk of Zed Multimedia, House of Zion. Today is your birthday. Enjoy the day to the max. Like a couple of quick announcements. It's a Tuesday morning. What are you doing at home? Why are you not on your way to work? This is because there is no job. Are you into the area of sales and marketing? Do you have the experience, the expertise, the skill set, and you believe you have what it takes to excel in sales and marketing? Then why are you home? Have you placed the call? There is a reputable company that's looking for experienced sales and marketing executives like you to employ. 0544 35 1019. Did you get that? 0544 35 1019. Call that line right now, and you never know, you could be walking into the job of a lifetime. Doing business in Ghana, that is what we started. That's a series we started yesterday. Yesterday we had a great chat with the Director of Investor Services at the Ghana Investment Promotion Council. Yes, you heard him. And so today we continue, but doing business in Ghana is not for the faint-hearted. You put in the money, is it coming back? If you've done that and the money is still, the profits are not showing, the business is not growing as you should, and you know it has to do with the fact that your product, your brand, your services are not being placed before the right audience, I have good news for you. First of all, make sure your dial is still here. The second hour of the show, the third hour of the show, then the last hour of the show, just so that you don't miss any of the snippets of business wisdom that will give. But however, there is still better news, and there is a bigger news. Zed 101.9 FM. And then you find a newspaper have come together, and they're giving you an exclusive advertising package. It gets you on radio, it gets you into print. You're not getting this anywhere. So just call this line 0544 35 1019. 0544 35 1019. Call, and let ZFM and then you find that newspaper be the voice of your business. Call right away. It's also important for you to know, it's very, very crucial for you to understand that the best shows on lifestyle, on leisure and business are right here on Z 101.9 FM. It is critical that you understand that your dial should stay here. Why? Let me run you through a typical Monday to Friday, and this is my advice for you. Keep your dial here at 5 a.m. every Monday to Friday. We have a show called Morning Blessings with Pastor Joshua Eneste. Morning Blessings. It's at 5 a.m. So start your day right. You should be awake by that time. Keep your dial here. Pastor Joshua Eneste will give you amazing word from the Bible. He will take your morning and turn it into something divine, just so that you start your day right. Then comes 5:30. What happens at 5:30? The Living Word with Dr. Mensa Otabil is here on Z101.9 FM, 5:30 a.m. daily, Mondays to Fridays. That living word takes you from 5:30 and brings you to 5:55. What happens at 5:55? Yours truly, Jerry Hom. I'll be here to take you through Zed in the morning or through to 9:55. Then that sends you into 10 a.m. What is 10 a.m.? NYA the brand comes your way with the show called The Brighter Side, right here on Z101.9 FM. NYA the brand, The Brighter Side, Mondays to Fridays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then Mondays to Fridays, 3 p.m. Highway 1019, that is the drive of a life. You have a great time with a Forever Yo in Gozibuatin and a gang. They take you home after a hard day's work. You want to relax and let these wonderful personalities take you home. So yes, that takes us to 7 p.m. So your Mondays to Fridays are basically sorted out, and much more is coming on, because even on Tuesdays, right after NYA the brand is done with The Brighter Side, there is a show called I Have a Story to Tell. I Have a Story to Tell. It's Honorable Fritz Bafo interviewing amazing Ghanaians, doing amazing stuff, picking their minds on what they are up to and all that. It happens here, Z101.9 FM, every Tuesday at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And then right after that, Oforiwoyo and the gang comes in with Highway 1019. What about your weekends? Your weekends are also sorted out. Your weekends are truly sorted out. Why? Because the man they call the king of country, the man they call the legend, Country Express with Tommy and Forsen comes your way. Sundays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Wednesdays 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Country Express with Tommy and Forsen right here on Z101.9 FM. And then on Sundays, still on Sundays, I'll come to Saturdays, but still on Sundays, Z101.9 FM brings you DDM. David Dakomensa comes your way with a show titled Z Gospel Groove, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Don't touch that dial. He takes you to church, he brings you back. Yes, that is if your church closes by 10. Yes, but then if after 10 your church is not yet done, you will meet Uncle Tommy. He comes your way Sundays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and on Wednesdays there is another show, Country Express, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Then on Saturdays, I left the best for last, right? On Saturdays, Time with Professor Stephen Adai, every Saturday at 8 a.m. Tune in to Z101.9 FM and listen to the great man share great ideas that will give your life some abundance. The theme is abundant living. The show is Time with Professor Stephen Adai. The time is 8 a.m. this and every Saturday. Well, last announcement before we go. How was your childhood like? Yes, for those of us who are Kubolo boys, we had great childhoods playing all around. But how was yours like? I hope and I pray that you had a great childhood. What about the mother figure in your life? Your mom, biological mom, or whoever was a guardian over you? How were those days like? Did your mom attempt to sell something to send you to school? Or you had all to do? So, I mean, you're well to do, so all was well for you. Well, it's time to tell us about your growing up days, because Sunday 12 May, Mother's Day, is just around the corner, and on that day Z101.9 FM would offer you an opportunity to win fantastic prizes by participating in the My Unforgettable Mom promotion to celebrate your mom, your guardian, or mother figure. How do you do that? Simple. Write a tribute to Z101.9 FM in not more than 50 words. Not more than 50, 1, 2, 3, up to 50. Don't write 51 words. 51 words, you're disqualified. Just 50 words telling us about your unforgettable mom. Send your script to us on WhatsApp number 0544321019. By the 9th, you have today, tomorrow, the 9th. By the 9th, right? 9th of May 2024. Real life stories. Tell us how your unforgettable mom experience was like. And then they will be shortlisted, and then 3 winners would walk away with awesome prizes for your mom, your mother figure in your life. So let's go. Do it right now. Just write. Pick a pen, or just, your tablet, your phone, whatever it is. 50 words. 50 words should not be too much. My Unforgettable Mom promotion on Z101.9 FM, celebrating motherhood. My Unforgettable Mom is sponsored by Sonotech Medical and Diagnostic Center and Best Western Premier Accra Airport Hotel. Mother's Day is around the corner. Let's still celebrate mothers right here on Z101.9 FM. Let's go for a classic.
Yamwa Sewakuto.
Zed 101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business.
Send us your 50-word tribute to your mom. Send us your 50-word tribute to your mom, and we will celebrate your mom. And you never know, apart from that, you also be standing a chance of winning an amazing prize right here on Z 101.9 FM. I realize when you look at your mother, you are looking at the purest love you will ever know. Did you hear that? That's one of my favorite quotes about motherhood. He said, I realize when you look at your mother, you are looking at the purest love you would ever know. Because regardless of who you are, regardless of what you are, regardless of how you look, how you behave, how you act, whatever it is, your mother loves you with the purest of love. Mother's Day. Join us, my unforgettable mom. Okay, let's not get emotional. Let's get straight to work. Top story. The EC registration has started today. For those of us who haven't registered yet, the EC has opened up. Registration is beginning today. It's starting from the 7th of May today until Monday, May 27th. It's expected to last for 21 days and is being conducted across all 268 district offices of the EC nationwide. Every single one of the district offices of the EC around the country, this is being done under the jurisdiction. So please, if you haven't voted yet, you know the importance of voting. You want to go there right now. I'm not sure there's going to be that much of a line there. We'll try and get some of our reporters who are on the ground to tell us what is happening there. But whatever be the case, please get to any of those places. Yesterday at the press conference in Accra, the chairperson, Mrs. Jean Mensah, explained that to ensure accessibility and inclusivity, the Commission has identified 785 underprivileged electoral areas where registration would be conducted. So please. And then, so for those of you on campus, 25 universities across the country have been chosen as registration centers due to the high population of residents on campus, which is to facilitate the registration of this significant number of first-time voters. So if you're on campus and you don't have your voter ID card, Mr. Emmanuel Boatin and your colleagues, go get registered. Go and get registered so that you can vote. Don't just come and talk and not go vote. It is very important. 21 days, that's all you have. Don't do the Ghana man thing. Wait till the 20th day and then let there be a long queue at a place. Find time and get there. You and I know that it is very, very important. Then also, I think one of the novelties of this one is the mobile teams that will traverse electoral areas, spending 2 days in each area and 3 days at each public university registering eligible candidates. So everything you need, so long as you're a Ghanaian citizen, 18 years and above, sound mental capacity, very important. You must have a sound mental capacity. Not every 18-year-old Ghanaian would be registered. You must prove sound mental capacity and residency in the intended voting district. It is important that you get through and get yourself registered. It is very, very important. There's a civic duty you must carry out. It is expected of you as a good Ghanaian to do this and do it well.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Yeah, the EC is expecting to break its own target. It's expecting 623,000 new registrants, but the chair of the EC said that with a planning, robust logistical support and a commitment to inclusivity, they are poised to surpass the target of 623,000 new registrants, bringing the voter registration process to the doorstep of every eligible Ghanaian citizen. I think after this, you have no excuse if you haven't gotten registered yet. So please, if you are 18 and above and of a sound mental capacity and you're a Ghanaian citizen, please go register. We're still going to get some of our reporters on the ground to find out what is happening where they are concerning the registration. It's also important to remind you, if you're a minor and you're a foreigner, you shouldn't go there. Please, you shouldn't go there, because the EC is actually put together something they're calling the National Election Security Task Force. National Election Security Task Force. It is led by the IGP himself, and it is to prevent minors, foreigners from registering, thereby ensuring the integrity and legitimacy of the process. So please, as much as possible, if you know you are not 18 and above, you don't qualify, you're not Ghanaian citizen, you're a minor, don't go and get yourself into trouble. Let this exercise be as negative incident free as possible, just so that Ghana becomes the winner at the end of the day.
Zed 101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
You want to know what document? Ghana passport, their Ghana card issued by the NIA, they are required. I mean, those lacking these documents, that's your passport or the Ghana card, please, you can visit district offices with 2 registered guarantors. Guarantors cannot vouch for more than 10 individuals. So please, when you're taking a guarantor there to vouch for you, ask if he's done more than 8 or 9. If you are the 10th and above, the person will not be allowed to guarantee for you. So please, it is important that you get the guarantors going. That is if you don't have a passport or you don't have a Ghana card.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Yes, so it is on. The registration has started today. We'll still try and get through to our people on the ground just to give us an idea of what is happening. But before that, let's listen to the chair of the EC as she delivered her speech at the press conference.
As a result of the reports that we had before us in 2018, when we assumed the position as the executive commission, we had before us some correspondence from the original equipment manufacturers, as well. That is the HSB Identification Limited, and then the managers of our biometric infrastructure, that is STL, to the effect that kits were obsolete, and they mentioned that the equipment had reached end of life, which means that there were no parts available to service them. We had before us a notification for the award of a contract to refurbish those kits to the amount of $56 billion United States dollars. So the question was whether to use that $56 billion to refurbish obsolete kits, or whether to use it to procure new kits. Interestingly, if you look at the budgets, the cost of refurbishing a biometric verification kit was more expensive than procuring a new one. And the Commission, to enable it to arrive at this decision, invited a UNDP Canadian consultant who had advised the Commission in 2011 when the decision was taken to go biometric. He was the one who came and put in place our biometric architecture, and then he supervised the procurement and everything. And so when we assumed office in 2018 and we were confronted as to whether to spend $56 million to refurbish kits that were obsolete, we invited him and he spent some 10 days with us. And he, at the end of the day, noted that the kits were obsolete and the maintenance of them had reached unsustainable levels. With that before us, we then took the decision to procure a brand new biometric voter management system for the Commission, comprising some 74,000 plus biometric verification devices, 8,500 biometric registration devices, a data center, and a disaster recovery center. All that was done at a cost of 68 million United States dollars. 68 million United States dollars. And I'd like to add that the $56 million that was earmarked to be used to refurbish obsolete kits, $51 million out of that was used towards the procurement of this new infrastructure. So 51 million United States dollars was used towards the procurement of this brand new infrastructure, comprising the data center and the disaster recovery site, 74,000 plus pieces of biometric verification devices, and 8,500 registration kits. And so if you ask me, who in their right mind will use millions of dollars to refurbish kits that have reached their end of life when you can use the money for, the long term? And in particular, is that the kits, the $56 million was just for us to get by to conduct the referendum in the 6 regions and the DNA. It was to get by, and after that, we do away with it. It was just for 2018 and 2019. And once you get to 2020, you do away with it and rehaul completely your biometric verification management systems. To date, the equipment that we use is robust, our data centers are robust, and they will last us for a long term. As mentioned, this was the state of affairs that we met. In addition to that, the Commission invited Laxton Limited, a reputable company that builds biometric and produces biometric equipment. And they also visited us and confirmed that our kits were obsolete. Based with that information, the Commission took the decision to auction the kits. And the process is simple. Before I did that, I informed the state valuer and provided them with a list of the items to be auctioned. They then, at the instance of the Commission, inspected all the equipment and put a cost to it. Armed with this, we then wrote to the Ministry of Finance to seek their approval to auction the items, which they then gave us. It was after this that the Commission invited an auctioneer to come and auction the items. And the recycling company procured those items, and the funds from the sale were lodged into the consolidated fund. So this is, and so we refute allegations that the kits were in good condition and that they were auctioned clandestinely and secretly. We refute. The equipment manufacturers, the managers, the biometric consultants who had advised the Commission, and producers of similar devices, Laxton Limited, all indicated that the kits were obsolete and had reached end of life. And this is what led to their being auctioned. Indeed, if you look at in one of the correspondence from the managers, they said 47% of the DDRs had failure rate in the 2016 election, and they were saying that 4 years later, it was very likely that they would fail even more, and it would put our elections at risk. It is for that reason that the Commission took the prudent decision to auction. Thank you.
Yeah, so that was the chairperson of the commission, the electoral commission, that is June Adukwe Mensah. She was talking to, and it's also important for you to note that the EC has also revealed that they have secured generators in the event of power outages during this registration. During this registration, they've secured generators to ensure that if there is doing so, there will still be uninterrupted voter registration services going on around the district offices. All of them have organized generators on standby. So we don't have doom so, but yeah, for registration, it's important that when someone comes, doom so will not be a problem. Yes, still the limited voter registration exercise that is going on. That's our top story for today. But I don't want you to forget that in the next hour, Zed Talk, the series is still going on, and it is doing business in Ghana. Yeah, still trying to get through to our correspondents around the country. Fatal Bayaga is our Ashanti regional correspondent. Fatal, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
It's great to have you back, my brother.
Yeah.
Where are you stationed and what's happening?
Yeah, so I am right at the Asuka constituency. I'm in the EC office where the registration is ongoing. At the moment, the process is yet to commence, but then the EC officials told me that everything is set for this very important exercise to happen today. And we all know that this is going to, happen between today and the 27th of May. So at the moment, everything is set. I am told that in preparation for this, and given the current doomsday situation, generators have been provided to ensure that any eventuality is quelled. So at the moment, yes, the process is okay according to the municipal director.
Okay, but what time exactly did they say the registration will start?
They are yet to tell me exactly when it will start, but they say it will not take long. In the next few minutes, they should. I mean, the people who are now in a queue would begin to go through the process. I asked further questions as to whether there were logistical challenges, but the EC boss here would not respond to that. But then she says everything is set and the process is going to commence very, very soon.
Are there, is there a queue that long? Is there a long queue? Can you give us an idea of how many people are waiting for this thing to start?
Yeah, so at the moment here, there are just 3 people who are here. And I understand that the process is slow because students are still in school. And because of that, today they wouldn't expect so many people coming in. But from tomorrow, they expect that the numbers here should increase. So now I'm just seeing 3 people who are in the queue, young people actually, and they are eager to go through this particular process.
Could you talk to any one of them for us to find out what kind of thought patterns are going on in their heads? Is it that they're excited about voting? Is it a card? Is it they exercising their civic duty or what?
Yes, so even before that, let me engage the party agents who are here observing the process. So you are representing the MPP. I mean, what have been your observation of this process so far?
Well, what has I observed by this time, is the slow process. The process is slow. Maybe it's just because of the start of the day. I know as time goes on, it will be better. But based on what is accounts? Oh, we have no problem with them. Whatever you ask them, they give us the information we need.
So you are here representing the NDC. I mean, what have you observed so far?
Oh, slow process is normal with the first day.
So we will catch up, I believe, from tomorrow going. I don't have problem with the EC officials yet. And everything you ask, they always respond. So for now, it's a slow process because it is the first day. It's normal.
So are you expecting so many people?
Yes, tomorrow. Because I know from tomorrow they have released the students. So they will be in today. So from tomorrow going, we will have busy process. So we won't have time at all. And I believe from next week, those non-student people will also join.
So as political parties, what would you expect from the EC so that the process will end peacefully?
To compromise with everything we asked, and we will have a smooth process. And we've worked with them before, so I don't believe we'll have any problem. Problem will start when the challenges, and then when the challenge comes through, that is where the problem starts. When you believe the person is not up to age, that's where the problem starts. But if no challenges come up, it means we will have a smooth process.
So what do you also think?
Yeah, what we expect from the EC is just fairness. They should give everyone a chance to register, only if he's a Ghanaian. Yeah, nothing else.
Thank you so much. So those were some agents representing the NDC and the MPP here within the Asukwa constituency. But let me just engage some of the people who are here to get registered onto the EC, so that they can participate in the 2024 general elections. But what would you say?
Alfred.
So why are you here today?
I want to do a registration.
What's the motivation? Why have you come to?
I want to vote during the election so that we can choose the right person for
You want to vote so that you can choose someone who's best to govern the nation. Is that what you say?
That's what I want to do.
So does that mean you're not happy with what is happening in the country? But what is going through your mind, in a queue now, and knowing that you will be participating in this election, in December? What's going through your mind? How are you feeling?
Good.
So, but what did you say?
Franklin.
So why are you so here?
I'm here to register. Yeah, I'm here to register so that I can vote during the December election, presidential election. Yeah.
But tell me the motivation. People say that, okay, I want to register so that I can vote for the best political party to lead the country. Is that the same, probably intention you have?
Yeah, since I'm a citizen of Ghana, I'm a Ghanaian citizen, so I have to, there's a need for me to get a voter ID so that I can vote and choose the right person for the country who can govern the country so that the country can do. That's why I'm here to vote.
It appears you're so eager to, get registered and all of that. But how do you feel about the process so far?
It's delaying, but it's normal. Ghana, Ghana, it's normal. Anytime delays, but I know it will be to my attention. I'm okay.
Yeah. One may say you are underage or something. Looking at your stature, how do you respond to that?
So I'm 18 years, but my physical appearance will think I'm underage, but right now I'm legal. Yeah.
So basically, those were some people who are waiting to be registered onto the EC's register, actually. So at the moment, everything is okay. The EC officials are now seeing that they are beginning to commence with the registration process. All the political party agents are all here, to monitor the process between now and when it will end. Cordeo is here, also observing this very important process. And I also got information that the process has begun across the other districts or municipalities across the Ashanti region.
Thank you so much. Fatal Bayaga is our Ashanti regional correspondent, and he is at Asokwa EC office bringing us that report. Thank you so much, Fatal, and I'm sure during the rest of the day we'll be getting back to you.
All right.
Enjoy the day, sir. Yeah, so Fatal's report brings us to the end of Top Story. The registration has started, limited voter registration, 21 days. So please go get yourself registered. You heard from Fatal, and we also will be bringing you what other correspondents are saying during the rest of this day. Okay, it's 7:54. And what is 7:54? We're going into your favorite NBA. Your mini NBA lecture comes your way on Z101.9 FM this and every Monday to Friday. What do we call it? We call it Business Briefs right here on Zed in the Morning. Activity in staying in touch with people. You cannot just network without being a people person. So today we're looking at two skills. Relationship building skills are key for networking. You should be someone who naturally should be able to walk to someone and begin a relationship, but not only begin but maintain as well, which is why you must also learn how to stay in touch with the people. And it's also important that your attempts are genuine, not fake, right? Genuine, And then the next one, so the second skill set for today is emotional intelligence, being aware of and managing one's own emotions, as well as understanding and empathizing with others' emotions can help in building rapport and trust. Not only should you, so let's start from yesterday. Ability to communicate well, listening well, and then we're saying relationship building, and then the last one for today is emotional intelligence. You should be able to walk to the person and read the person's body language, know when you are becoming a pest, and know when to step back and all that. That's just for today, right? Business Briefs right here on Zed in the Morning with Jerry Hum. We'll be coming your way in the there's a third hour. Zed Talk, like we said, this week we're starting a series called Doing Business in Ghana, and like we always like to brag, and I said Muhammad Ali says it is not bragging if you can back it up. This is more than a morning show. This is an NBA on wheels, yes, which is why yesterday we brought you the Director of Investor Services at the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, Mr. Edward Ashon-Latte, who shared with us the ins and outs of investing in Ghana. Today's conversation, we're talking to someone who has done it, someone who has been in the thick of affairs, an entrepreneur who has the experience, the insights, and strategies. When we come back in the third hour of the show, we'll be talking to this very big man. He's in the studio with us, and we'll be having a good chat. Doing business in Ghana, right here on Zed 101.9 FM. Zed in the morning.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Yesterday, day one, we hosted the Director of Investor Services at the GIPC, Edward Ashon-Latte, who shared with us the ins and outs of investing in Ghana. Today's conversation aims to delve into the entrepreneur's experiences, insights, and strategies for success, providing valuable lessons and inspiration for you, our dear listener. And we're joined in the studio by successful Ghanaian entrepreneur Christian Asante, the CEO of Kasanti Business Solutions Group. We're also joined by startup founder Isaac Aboa, who is the CEO of Mello Technologies. They will give us the insights. Just so, dear listener, don't touch the dial because the lecture is about to start. It's an MBA on wheels. It's a mini MBA for your Tuesday morning. This whole week, doing business in Ghana. We'll also hear from other contributors as the discussion continues. So just stick and stay. Keep your dial right here. We're about to go to school. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Jerry.
So let me get it right. It's Kasanti, Christian Asante.
The name isn't actually Christian Asante, but the company is Kasanti Business Solutions.
Okay.
Yes, Christian Asante is the CEO.
Okay, so you're welcome to the studios of Zed 101.9 FM. So can you share your entrepreneurial journey? How did it all start?
Well, let me start first by saying thank you for inviting me. This is a subject that's close to my heart, and so I'm thrilled to be here. And good morning to the listeners. Anytime I'm asked this question about how it started, I have to go way, way back. To a period where I first came back to Ghana and discovered that there was a lot more we could do as individuals to make the economy better for everybody else. Maybe I should share a little story. I noticed, and I'm sure you've noticed, that most people outside, when we are outside, we think we can do it all when we come back to Ghana. And so we have all the ideas and none of the experience, especially in Ghana. So I was one of those, and I thought that having been an entrepreneur in other countries, it would be easy to just come into Ghana and
start
do something. Yes. How little I knew then. But it started with me coming into Ghana and discovering that, like any other economy, there are opportunities everywhere. And yes, we identified a number of opportunities and decided that the best we could do to help, instead of make all the noise, is come in and actually do something.
Okay.
Set up entities that would provide this, and provide others the opportunity to be that country that we wanted it to be. So it started with the drive to make something positive, or have something positive happen in the country.
So the dream was there, and then you come back to town. You said, "Listen, I want to do this. I'm not going to do an 8 to 5. I'm not going to look for a job. I'm going to start my own." How did you start?
Okay, so this is where you identify the opportunities that exist in Ghana. So I started by first looking at the whole economy, the whole country as a whole, and figuring out where the opportunities lay. When you think of Ghana, and I think we've heard this so many times, in terms of how rich Ghana is in natural resources, in terms of the youthful population, and so on and so forth. But that, in each of those, provide us significant opportunities. I think one of the things that I've learned is that we don't tend to really look at the opportunities. If you take natural resources, for instance, we don't look at the opportunities from the perspective of what else we can do, apart from looking at the core natural resource and thinking, once the extraction is done, that is it. So there are a lot of opportunities that we identified around there.
Okay.
And then also looking at the opportunities again, we realized, or I realized at least, that with the youthful population, it gave you a budding consumer market, which is going to grow and grow and grow. And so services and the like also presented more opportunities.
Okay.
And then, of course, technology. And our economy, in fact, the whole of Africa seems to be the new bedrock for technology development. So that will also provide some opportunities for us. So yes, I started by looking at the opportunities that existed, that were available, and then figured out how we could apply ourselves or myself to that environment.
So what? You brought a lot of money into town to start business?
Oh boy. You have to This is the unfortunate bit, I think, when it comes to start as an entrepreneur in Ghana. It is challenging.
Okay.
It's challenging to raise capital. You have to have a source of funds that enables you to at least go through the first year or so in terms of being able to actually survive effectively. One of the lessons, and maybe I should share a lesson here, one of the lessons I learned was that even if you came in early and had a lot of success in terms of generating business and in terms of having contracts and doing work, there is in the system an inherent delay in payments. So you can do the first year, you can make 10 million sales if you like, but by the nature of our economy and how funds delay, you have to have a backbone, if you like. So no, I didn't come in with a lot of money, but I had to generate a lot of money to be able to survive, and that's.
And so what I'm saying is that if you don't have a fallback plan, you might even be successful, but you will struggle in the first year or first few years.
First few years. I think that it doesn't easily translate from paper revenue to actual cash. All right. I mean, there are customers who owe for 2-3 years. And so that's a big thing that you need to take into account. And because we don't have the capital market to readily fill that gap, it presents a significant challenge. And so, yes, you need to bring in some funds from somewhere if you can. And that would go a long way to ensure that you are actually in a position to be a bit more successful.
So when the struggle starts, first year, you've done jobs for people, especially, I mean, and if you did for government, then I want 2 years payment. Now, the payment is not coming. Why didn't you go back?
Why didn't you go back? I think I was fortunate enough to come in at a point where I had made up my mind that it was going to work.
Oh, wow.
Fortunately, this was in the first place I'd actually started a business. So I was expecting some of the challenges that I faced. Nonetheless, it was a bit more than I expected.
Yeah, Ghana would.
Ghana was it's an interesting environment. So you don't go back because, and I think I was also fortunate to have a fallback plan in terms of what you mentioned in the beginning, in terms of having capital available. So having some sort of capital available helped. Maybe another advice that I could give is that even one of the things that helped me significantly was to have 2 cycles of businesses, if you like. So you had the cash business, which brought you some funds that you could run around with. So opening something like a restaurant or something that's rich in cash flow helps to sustain your business and your resources as you go through. So that was one of the reasons why perhaps I was able to stay, because in the beginning I decided that I had to have a long cycle and a shorter cycle that would maintain the process.
Yeah, that's good advice. So if you're listening to us, that's the first nugget for today. If you're coming in and you're looking long term, also make sure that there is some cash heavy business you can go into where every day you get some coins. Otherwise, hunger will send you out packing, right? Entrepreneurs are supposed to solve problems. Was that one of the things that moved you, or did something out there got to you so much that you ran back home, or was something in here so strong that it pulled you back home? Was it a push or a pull?
Well, I think for most people that are outside or who live outside for a while, there is always this drive to come back and do better. And then when you get some experience, you believe that you can actually make better the economy or the system at home. So I think it was both a pull in that regard, but there was another push. I remember having a conversation on an aeroplane with a then minister, I think. And as you do, you go on about how your economy is bad and you don't do this and you don't do that. And this man looked at me, I'm not going to mention it. He looked at me he waited for me to rant on for about 15 minutes. And he said, so what are you going to do about it? You're a Ghanaian, what are you going to do about it? And that was the push. Because then you had to come back and say, you know what, I could do it better. And then you come in and realize everything. So it was both a pull and a push, yes.
So you're now in, and you've the opportunities are there. You've seen them. You have a bit of cash, so you started the business. What would you say was the first major blow that you realized that I'm in a different system? This one is a big fight.
In short, I remember going to an entity to do a presentation to them, and all I was speaking about was the value that this product brings and how it's going to change the economy. The CEO looked at me and he said something that knocked me off my feet. He said, "Brofu baby, that was the
then
biggest,
you knew that you were in Ghana.
Yes, then I knew I was in Ghana, because then I realized that what I term as value, or what we tend to term as value from academics and from outside, are not necessarily the same value people see when it comes to business in Ghana. You have to frame it in such a way that it relates to that environment in which you are. So that statement, in fact, most people misinterpret it, thinking it's about money and all that. But again, for me, it was about how I was presenting the value that I was presenting to the company. And even though they didn't see the long-term view, they are in an economy where they need to see immediate returns to be able to pick it up. So it rephrased my presentation to a point where they could then see the value that they get from day one, so that they could buy in and get the product going. And unfortunately, that was a good sale. I mean, I was able to come back and change that narrative.
That's interesting. So now the business is started. You, the chief executive, you are everything. You are from day one. You are the receptionist, the chief marketing officer, the chief finance officer, the chief HR, and everything. But then eventually you have to start bringing people in. What was your experience like bringing people on board?
I think I was fortunate in that regard. I had one or two people who were eager to start their own businesses, and so I had to adopt a strategy where they became part of the business rather than employees.
Ooh.
Now, it's not everybody who can go through that chain, but if you make somebody who is interested in having their own business a part of the business, and this happens outside through stock options and the like, they have a better take on on how the business works. So the core resources that we required in the beginning were all a mixture of some cash incentives as well as equity. And then the feeling of being part of it meant that everybody was happy to go above and beyond to make it successful in the lean times.
But that's a departure from what we are told, that the average Ghanaian businessman wants to own everything. I'm the boss. I own everything. And you came in and you made your early employees part owners of the business. That was brave.
That was brave, but that was also from experience.
Okay.
So, one of the I remember when we were young, I mean, I was in St. Augustine's I went to school in St. Augustine's.
Okay, I mean, our Gasco guys would always let you know where they went.
So one of the things I remember vividly is that we had a number of people whose parents we classified as very successful.
Yeah.
We knew their businesses. The businesses were successful. But then as you grow, when the man or the owner of the business passes on, the business then tends to die. So I realized very early on that a one-man business would not succeed going forward. And if you wanted to establish a business that stood the test of time, then it had to be different from a salary-driven business, where I own everything and I just pay everybody to do what they should do.
Senior, you have to repeat that too. I'm writing. You have to repeat that statement again. Please.
So effectively, if you have a workforce who are salary driven, they don't give their best. That is my philosophy, or what my discovery. So I had to move, and we've tried to do that. We moved from a team of people who turn up because they are paid to a team of people who turn up because it is their future. And that is the difference. Right. So I think as an entrepreneur who comes into Ghana, you come into the economy with a dream. You know, or you believe that dream is going to be successful. And you need people to buy into that dream to make it work. If we don't, then what tends to happen is that you get people who turn up. If it's raining, they don't care to come because effectively they will come for a salary and it's raining and I don't really care. Or they don't turn up to work because they have a little headache and all that. I have people, and this is one of the things that anybody who visits any of our Kasante offices find interesting. We actually have bedrooms in our offices where people tend to decide, oh, you know what, today we have a pre-project, we're going to stay for the next week to make it happen. And they are so invested in working because it's part of they see it as their own business. And
they'll sleep in the office?
Yes, we have people who sleep in the office when they need to.
Because they are part of the business.
They are part of the business. It's their business.
Wow. I mean, that's you have been in this. How long ago has the Kasante dream been on? I need to ask a question, but I need to know how long ago this Kasante dream.
So in Ghana, Kasante, I think we started in 2015 or thereabouts. And in fact, when we started, it was more about generating resources that could support the Ghana economy. So we went into technology and trained people in the rare skills, the Oracle and stuff like that. So we had the Oracle University. And eventually evolved when we had the capacity to, the good mass of specialized skills and resources, we moved into development of applications, etc. And that's how it's been. Yes.
So this is like under 10 years. Within this period, you've experienced a number of entrepreneurs as well. What are some of the mistakes entrepreneurs in this country, whether local or they came from outside, what are the mistakes that they are making?
The entrepreneurial journey is a learning journey, so far as I know, or as far as I can say. I think that one of the biggest mistakes that you can make, and I can't say somebody made that mistake or not, but one of the biggest journeys you can make is to assume that what you learned in class is what's going to play out. I've seen a lot of people come in and they expect it to work in a certain way. Well, I've done my business plan, I've gone to the bank, why am I not getting the funds? And so that's a problem. I mean, I've done this and I've done this course and so it should work. That's not how it works in reality. So one of the biggest mistakes you can make is assume that what you've learned is going to play out, and also what you know from somewhere else is what's going to work. You have to adjust it into the environment and
there is book and there is ground.
I would say so. I think the book is very important. It gives you the foundation, but you need to learn how to apply it to the ground. That's what I would say.
Amazing. What are some of your mistakes so that we learn from them? Kasante, what were some of the mistakes you made early from day one?
Too many. Too many to list.
Let's pick a few of them.
So I think one of the challenges that, for what we would call a big mistake, and one of the things that everybody in the company is very reluctant to do, is unfortunately one thing that we should be doing in this economy, which is partnerships. Working with partners to deliver products and to deliver solutions. It feels to me that there is very little business trust in the environment at the moment, and I don't blame the environment. Our mistake has been not vetting properly the partners that we did some businesses with. And I think for me, my biggest advice to any entrepreneur starting out would be to do your due diligence and have all your foundational documents and agreements in place before you venture into any partnership. And also have a way of severing that partnership if there is a need to do so. Because if you don't, and you're coming from two different areas, it could actually come back to kill your own business, because you will find yourself investing so much more or doing what you were expecting the partners to do. So that's one of the biggest mistakes we've made. We made it twice, which wasn't wise, but I don't think we're going to make that again.
Yeah.
Going forward. So that's the biggest one we've seen.
There is this perception that Ghanaian workers are You know, they're hardworking, they can be trusted. You go on social media, somebody's done a video, and I left my job for this person and he collapsed it and all that. Have you come across anything like that?
No, that's the one I find really interesting. I have had experience to work in almost 60-something countries. I have met Ghanaians in almost in all of these countries. And everywhere you go, the Ghanaians are the most hardworking people you meet. And then you come home, and it's almost the reverse. So then the question is, why is that so? I can relate to what people say, that Ghanaians collapse businesses and so on and so forth. But I think that it is primarily, it's more our fault as an entrepreneur or the person investing than the person in Ghana. And I know this is going to be controversial, but I will explain that. We assume too much when we invest in a business in Ghana, especially when we are not present. We assume the person we have hired is the business owner. The person we have hired is the entrepreneur. The person we have hired is supposed to make the critical decisions to run the business, but they are not. They are employees. And that clear distinction is one of the reasons that I find that businesses fail in Ghana. So you are outside, you've set up a shop, and you've stocked the shop, and you've given it to somebody to manage. That person is not going to make any strategic decisions for you. All they're going to do is sell and maybe account for it. One, if you were outside, you would have measures in place to manage your stock, measures in place to make sure that you have security in place and all that. And we do not do as much as we would if we were outside. We leave it to that person to run as if it's their business and they're supposed to have interest in making it run. No, it's not their business. It's not their interest. In fact, they are looking for that salary that you are paying them so they can go and run their business.
Oh.
Because that is their dream. So if you don't marry the two, of course he's going to come to work, he's going to get the money he needs, and he's going to go out and set up his dream and make his dream come true. And I think that's the big gap that we tend to miss. So when somebody tells me that they set up a business in Ghana and he failed and all that, I ask them, well, what did you expect it to do? You have the dream and you're sitting in the UK or you're sitting in the US. Your dream is not in Ghana. And the person who you've given it to also has their dream, and they are making their dream work. So go and check it out. In fact, there's another interesting one. I know a guy who tried to build a house and was sending money to an architect to do the work. When he came back, the architect had built a successful school. And
oh, wow. He's used the guy's money to build a school.
Do we say he's used the guy's money? He's used the money he earned from the guy, and he's used his one properly to build his school because he had a dream. So he's used the money he received to ensure that his dream worked. He's not responsible for making your dream work.
Wow. Mr. Santi, are you saying that if I am in London, I'm in the UK, Canada, and I want to start a business in Ghana, rather than just sit there and throw the money down here and assume it will work, I should come to town and make sure I am, on top of the thing. If I have to go back, then I must find systems to manage the one I have put in charge.
Well, I believe so. It's your dream. It's your business. And if you want that business to survive or to succeed, then it must have your input. So you put it very clearly. If it's your business and your dream, then come down and make it work. But if you send somebody to run it, that person has not got your dream. And that person has not got the drive to make it successful. They're driven. They're driven to get a salary and to get enough money to make their business work. So his side business will work and yours will fail.
Mr. Christian Asante is the CEO of Kasante Business Solutions Group, and he's dropping some nuggets that I think should shake the foundation of your entrepreneurial understanding. He's saying stuff that I think they are quite interesting. Does the Ghanaian system or environment make it easy or difficult for a business to succeed?
Interesting. The Ghanaian system actually makes it easy for an entrepreneur to succeed.
Oh, rather?
It does.
Okay, tell us.
I think that if you come in as an entrepreneur with the experience you have from outside, you have a lot more opportunity to succeed. That's a fact. However, we have challenges that you should overcome. And the reason why I say if you come in from outside, it gives, or even as an entrepreneur, it gives you more chance to succeed is if you have the skills to overcome those challenges, then you are in a better place to succeed quicker and faster than you would outside, anywhere else. So the opportunities exist, and the system is designed to give you the opportunities. You need to understand those opportunities and push through the challenges that come, and that then provides you.
Is this not the same system that Glovo and the rest say they are leaving? I mean,
that is true. That is true. So what has Glovo done? Glovo invests dollars in the Ghana city economy. And so if I were Glovo, unless and in fact, okay, so let's put it in another way. One of our business is in tech as well. We do tech. We don't price in dollars, and we make sure that the infrastructure that we build, the applications that we build, the resources that we use are CD priced or CD based, which means that unless I'm going to buy something from outside, my risk to foreign exchange exposure, for instance, is much, much lower. If I'm running a system like Glovo, a multinational, who has managers outside who are paid in dollars, or even managers in country who are paid in dollars, I do not see any company that will survive in the long term, because unfortunately, inflation, as you know, is not stable. Our exchange rate is not stable. So you're not going to have enough revenue to sustain that level of business in the very long term. And that is just my view. I don't know the core reasons why Glovo is left, but from what I see in the business realms, if you're looking at having expenses in other currencies, then you're going to struggle in the long term, unless your revenue is such that it gets to the level where you can balance off your gains and losses.
That's quite interesting, because if that is to say that, then what we've been told that the living of some of these multinationals provides opportunity for local Ghanaians, then rather it's true.
I think it does. I mean, it does provide significant. It does provide opportunities, because we've realized that with global living, there is a gap in the market. There will be a gap in the market. I'm sure there is no day you drove around town and did not see a Glovo bike or a Glovo motorbike. So there is going to be an opportunity. Now, how do we plug that? You're not going to plug that by going the same dollar-based, running the same dollar-based business. You have to find local solutions to the local problems that are not dependent on foreign exchange, or at least reduce dependency on foreign exchange. And I think that will then succeed. So it does provide an opportunity, if you look at it from an entrepreneur's perspective.
So eventually the business is up and running, and we are told that every business must at one time or the other need some funding. Have you raised funds on the Ghanaian market? How easy, how difficult was it?
In one business, we tried to raise funds on the Ghana market. Unfortunately, it hasn't been, I can't attest to it being successful. Raising funds in Ghana is extremely difficult. And even when you do, the cost of that capital is such that you will have to work overnight, or you would really have to work to make it work. So that's a big challenge that collectively we need to face. I also find that our financial institutions are really not geared towards the capital, providing capital for entrepreneurs across board. I don't see any financial institution or bank that is actively supporting or understanding a business and supporting that business. Your interest rate is high. Unless you're going to have a business that's going to cover those costs, it becomes extremely difficult. So raising funds in Ghana hasn't been too good. Well, there's not a good story I can tell on that. But I think too that what I've seen in later years is the rise of individual investors. So these are people who have made some money and are now getting to the point where they're coming together as angels to invest in businesses. that I've seen arising, and you're often approached by people who want to invest in your company and all that. So I'm hoping that once we continue to, my experience, they don't do enough to support entrepreneurs in the system. They do support entrepreneurs, let's say. They have some overdrafts and functional facilities that are available, but they don't have all that you would experience if you were in any other country, or what I think they should be doing at the moment.
So now the caveat is enough. It's not that they don't support, but they don't support enough. Enough. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It all starts with a winning idea, right? An idea that is sorted out. So this is what I'm thinking, that if you were to advise a group of entrepreneurs, someone who is listening to us today, what would be that advice you give in the area of business? Because they all say the business starts with a good business idea. What would be that advice?
Believe in your dream. I think that is my core thing. My thing, or one of the things that I learned very early on, is there's a millionaire in every field. There's a successful story in every field. So that business idea that you have has the potential of being successful. You don't give up, you work through it, and make sure that when the times are lean, you still get up and go to work.
That lean times thing is the issue. The lean times, it's not everyone who would survive the lean times, and is that what differentiates the successful ones from the also runs, or those who came to compete?
I would say so. The ability to stay the journey is the key factor in being successful or not.
Oh, okay. All right. So, Mr. Isaac Aboah, he's a CEO of Mellow Technologies. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm yet to come to you. So let me come to your end. How did your entrepreneurial journey start?
I'm happy to be here. Thank you to all the listeners for Zed FM for having me. For me, I was generally a very curious person when I was growing up. So it started from being curious and trying to explore. When I went to University of Ghana in my first year, I remember very vividly there was a competition called the Holt Prize, which was basically a student entrepreneurship competition. And I was only 100 days in the university, and someone approached me and said, I'm forming a team to be part of this competition. And I said, okay, fine, I would join. I would join in. I didn't know a lot about the problem-solving space at the time, but when I went in, it felt like something natural to me, trying to break down problems and thinking about how to find innovative approaches to solving them. So I just got interested. It piqued my interest, and I followed the journey. But in that competition, particularly, we didn't win. But it taught me a lot of things, and I said, okay, I want to try this entrepreneurship. I want to learn more about it. And so the following semester, I was part of a program that was training people to help other businesses, which gave me actual knowledge in how to help small entrepreneurs. And from then I said, instead of just helping people, let me just put my head into the arena and see what actually exists there. So I started off my very first business watching a YouTube video, making popcorn out of it and selling to students. So I sold popcorn and juices on the University of Ghana campus and scaled it to become something that was running through whole weeks until it became big that the school didn't allow me to continue, which again comes to the eventual barriers of entrepreneurship, right, that we have in this country. The school didn't allow me to continue because technically it was illegal for me to be operating a business off of my balcony making juices and popcorn, right? But then there was no avenue for you to make that. And so you either had to have money enough to scale into an actual enterprise where you have a base of operation, or you had to quit. And in my case, I didn't have money, so I had to quit. But then...
Wait, don't go too quick. You left campus?
No, I didn't leave.
You stopped the job?
Yeah, I stopped the business, yeah.
Oh, you were torn between stopping all the business or leaving campus to go and do the business?
No, you could technically, right, stay on campus and
run it from outside.
Continue the business, even on campus, right? But where were you going to do that, right? That's the point. Like, you needed, I was making juices, right? So we were exporting, technically, transporting is the right word, right? Not exporting. We were transporting oranges, pineapples, etc. from sometimes Aduiji, sometimes from Medina Market, wherever we could get it, right? And then we bring them to campus, slicing all of that, juicing all of that, right?
On the balcony?
So, exactly.
And was it a whole room? All your roommates were included?
Oh, yeah, I mean, when you do something like that, I think one thing that people discount a lot in this entrepreneurship thing is energy, right? It's about something that you enjoy, something that energizes you, something that rejuvenates you. So you find that a lot of the old entrepreneurs are still doing what they do, not necessarily because of the money, it's because it's something they enjoy. And that energy is usually very infectious, so it gets people animated around you. So yes, I mean, I turn all of my roommates basically into helping me doing someone is squeezing this and all of that. But the point is that in that university, and this is not anything against the University of Ghana, but the truth is that there isn't an environment to say that, oh, someone is doing this, and so I will take them and then give them a space or something like that. Because the University of Ghana, if we got a space to do that, it would be a massive success. Because already there is distribution. There are students who want to buy food, who want to buy juices all the time. But why should a school give you something that they can sell for someone for a huge price, right? So the school could say, a space, I discount it for the students. Every year, I'm going to give 3, this is an idea for University of Ghana if you're listening, for the students that
University of Ghana, please, there's a consultancy coming.
I would give 3 spaces out of night market to student-run businesses for free, right? And the way I'm going to do that is that it's going to be a merit-based system. Maybe you're going to run a competition, something, whatever. And then at the end of the day, we're going to give, it didn't matter that my company won. It's that there is representation of student spaces, student entrepreneurship. That is the school actually, not just having a University of Ghana business school and talking it, but actually giving a platform for students to run their businesses on the campus and succeeding. So that's how my journey started. Right. And then I went on to do I did a student consulting thing where we were basically going at a time. We went to banks and told them that we could do student research, we could get student data, and we could sell to them, like different research, right? What do students want to buy, etc. And as part of that, we could help them set up student bank accounts. So we were setting up bank accounts for Unibank, Cowbank, the defunct Unibank, Cowbank at the time.
Okay.
And then we did that for some time. And then in my last year, I said I wanted to go and win this hot price thing. So I built a team, and we wanted to solve the problem of tomatoes. Basically, it's absence in Ghana.
Wait. Once again, let me stop him. So you didn't go to school to learn or what? I mean, it's all about entrepreneurship.
So when I finished university, I tell people that I'm 28 right now, and I've worked in a lot of industries. I have a lot of knowledge, in-depth industry knowledge. And it's only because when I went to school, I basically had 4 years of experience, 4 years of working experience, right? And yes, obviously that, if you come from the family I came from, which is a family that is very, very difficult economically, it might not sound so when you hear me speaking all this brothel. But if you do like that, right, you have to think. I think for me, so to backdrop or backstep on my story, when I finished Opoku High School, I had scholarship to study in about 3 universities in the U.S. My family was so poor I couldn't afford to take a flight ticket. I stayed home for 2 years. So when I came to university, I was just looking about what actionable skill set could give me something to do right after university. I didn't want to become unemployed, etc. So I went to the classes. I was doing well, kind of, but I just figured that I needed to gain real skills. So I was doing this business while actually also working for other organizations, right? So when I finished, my options were a lot. It's just that I was stubborn enough to choose this unfortunate journey of entrepreneurship. I say unfortunate because anybody that's listening, it's just very difficult, right? Like, there's no reason why anybody would want to do that if not for like a very yearning zeal, sometimes I'll say a curse, on the person to want to do that, right? So that is my journey.
I mean, let me find out from both of you. Does hardship play any role in sending somebody into the entrepreneurial journey or the 8 to 5 space? Does your background, in terms of where you're coming from, does it play any role? Because these are like two, because you didn't tell me your background, so I want to find out from you first.
Right, so my background's a bit different. I wouldn't say I came from an economically challenged background, but I think that what's important is the drive, having that drive. The background itself doesn't, I mean, there are a lot of people who are unfortunate, but I think what sets, for instance, Isaac apart is the drive that he has. And that drive you cannot kill. I mean, it means that he works 24 hours a day. If you're an entrepreneur in Ghana, one thing I can say about it, I can describe him to a T. He doesn't sleep. He sleeps maybe 1 or 2 hours a night. He's always thinking about his business. He's always thinking about the next opportunity, what to apply. That's the drive that you need as an entrepreneur to
and that's what scares others.
And that's what's difficult for others to understand. I mean, the number of people who said to me, "You don't have a life." I mean,
10 years ago.
Even today, and I'm sure people tell you that all the time.
I'm young, so you definitely are going to. No, I mean, to zero in on that question of hardship, I recently, NVIDIA CEO, NVIDIA right now is one of the highest grossing companies in the world in terms of market cap. And in an interview, he was talking about how Stanford students now, they are living in a certain field of just, they are happy, they have a good life, and that doesn't inspire a lot of thinking, right? Because it's not that you have to come from a bad background. You don't have to necessarily, like folks like, but you have to be willing to put yourself to an amount of distress. So willing distress, right? How are you willing to endure a certain level of pain and adversity? And I mean, willingly, right? Like,
it mustn't be forced on you.
It mustn't be forced on you. This is the reason why, for example, I think that a lot of government initiatives where it's trying to sort of manufacture entrepreneurship, it's just wrong.
Okay.
Because you can't manufacture it. People, what you do is, I think, that you see people who have already that drive and willingness to take on the adversity, and you say, okay, I can see you are doing this, I can see you're struggling. How can I make your journey a little much? How can I soften your landing?
Okay.
Because you will hit very hard, but how can I soften your landing? With better policies, with other capital, etc., etc.
Okay.
But you can't just manufacture it. You can create an enable environment, and the people who, by their default, like there's something called Myers-Briggs test indicator.
Yeah, the Myers-Briggs.
MBTI, and you find that there are people who are on a certain spectrum who are likely to become entrepreneurship. Usually entrepreneurs, except for a very small margin of people, have a certain trait, right? So those people would willingly take up those spaces, and then you can soften their landing. But you can't manufacture it necessarily, but you can create an enabling culture. You can remove some barriers to entry. That's what would enable it.
That's the Ghanaian system. I asked him, I want to ask you too, does Ghana encourage entrepreneurship?
I guess the blank answer is no. So there is, I've met different people from different parts of the world. I recently got my US visa, so I'm hoping to go to the US. Apart from when I didn't get to school in the US, kind of got at this stage from the place. But my friend, who's also another tech entrepreneur, went to the US for 4 months and came back, and he said that, and he went to Silicon Valley, and he said, these people are just different. They are so energetic. They are so encouraging. When you go there, it feels like you want to explode, like you want to build something, right? Like everyone is supportive. The businesses there are not going to look at you and say, okay, you built this excellent solution, but where's your office, right? The first thing that comes to your mind is not where's your office. What about Ghanaian culture that is inhibitive to entrepreneurship is a certain officialdom, a certain appeal to authority, right? That because the people that build things are usually people that break things, right? And we are being trained and socialized in a way of formality and due process that is inhibitive to breaking things, right? We don't encourage breaking things. And so that in itself is a fundamental culture against the very traits that make up entrepreneurship. And then you put on top of the environmental factors that kind of make that status quo a reality.
But Isaac, is it not because we don't have a lot of things for you to break some? So we can't afford to have you breaking stuff. So even you are told at home, you know, as you are going to play with your friends, be careful not to break anything. It enculturates us from day one. So that's why probably the system is like that.
I mean, it is. I get the point, right? If this is the reason why yesterday on Twitter someone was trying to build this payment product. It's a good developer. I think it's probably a little younger than me. I'm 28. The person might be 26, 25. And I commented that, we built this in 2020, but before you think about actually commercializing this, you have to have at least 200,000 cedis to deposit at the Bank of Ghana. You have to have 6 months to go through regulatory approval, or the banks in Ghana are going to look at you and say, oh, we are not going to integrate it to, like I've done that meetings 50, tens, thousands, dozens of times. Nobody's going to money if you don't have somebody's hand holding your hand and entering into one of these things. Or you're going to go into other payment service providers where PSPs where you have to pay money for people to use your product and you don't have that money. So basically you build a product but it's unusable because you don't have money. So I was just advising the person that unless you have $100,000 in the bank, don't attempt to continue to do it. Because I've had that struggle. You don't have to go through that. And it got a lot of traction because it was a sudden reality check to all the people that, oh, wow, you can just do this stuff. And that's just a reality, right? That's the reality of how we build things here. You don't have to do all of those things in some jurisdictions. But we like to take the official approach and say, where is your this? And where is your that? And where is your that? But there's the Milken Institute conference going on right now in the US. Elon Musk was speaking on a panel yesterday, and he was reflecting on some other speeches that he had done. And one of the things that he said is that regulation, right? Human beings die. Regulations and laws don't die necessarily. So you can find, for example, some of the tenets in our constitution dating back to ancient Greece and all. These are principles that we build upon. So these ideas, these regulations, they won't die, but the people die. So at a point, if you hammer too much on regulation, everything is going to be illegal, right? If you are going to be so regulation centric, so there's a dance, there's a dilly-dally between how do we make sure that we are creating an environment where people can still thrive in experimenting and breaking things, and then a place where when they become too much for us, then we try and shaping them so that they don't become too much. They don't become bigger than they envision themselves to be. But that playing field, which is very synonymous to the child analogy you are giving, right? That's it. Play is very, very. I study psychology. There is a lot of theories around how play is very, very instrumental, and it's not just child's play. Just play as a theory on being able to experiment, and that's something that we don't have here as a culture.
I mean, I'm seeing some industries. For instance, I know the insurance industry is trying to do something in the space of sandboxing, so that you can ring fence and say Isaac and these guys, okay, you play and break stuff here, but then when you've broken enough, we can bring you into the larger playing field and all that. I see some work being done in that space. Let me find out from you. How do you approach innovation and staying ahead of the competition? Because both of you, incidentally, are into tech as well. You're into tech as well. Before we do that, how did the orange juice guy get into tech?
Oh, so like the Hall prize thing, that I was talking about. My competition won in Ghana. We went to Malaysia. We competed against 62 teams. We won. We went to landing. We went to an accelerator for 3 months, and I was there with everybody, like students from Harvard, Oxford, whatever. Stayed there for 2.5 months, and that, for me, was my very first time of getting that high level competition. But we fared very well. We didn't win, but we fared very well. That increased my confidence in myself and gave me an exposure I didn't have. So one of the things I saw very vividly when I went to London was the transport network, and I saw how it was very different to Ghana's system. So I just took what I learned and I came back, and the first thing I wanted to do was to build a transport system that could improve our public transportation. And that was my first tech endeavor. And so I had to learn everything from scratch. And that obviously had its own challenges. We stopped working on that. And then stayed on that part to what we are trying to build for manufacturers and distributors in that chain. So that was it. So obviously you can see how exposure is very important. If I had exposure maybe 5 years, I maybe would start to do something. Exposure is very, very key in what I say is increasing your surface area of possibility.
Increasing
your surface area.
Your surface area of possibility.
Yeah, because
okay,
if you don't know, for example, that ZFM exists, and you can speak on this platform, and your voice could reach, say, thousands of people, right? You would think that your voice is very marginalized, right?
Okay.
And you don't know that there's a possibility of doing that. It's the same thing. If you look at the things that we are building in Ghana, it is really limited to our surface area of possibility. Like, you don't start thinking about space exploration in Ghana.
Space.
Like, do you get my point? It's ridiculous. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because
we've not solved Accra. Let's finish Accra. And
because exposure, because the things you see, the problems you see, the level of the problems you see, how far the society is advanced, they start giving you delusions of grandeur, right? And you start saying that, oh, maybe we should do that.
Did you have to learn how to develop? Did you have to be a developer? Because in the space?
Oh, so
because you said you had to learn afresh.
Yeah, I mean, when I meant learn afresh, I think that, I mean, with all businesses, what's important is the problem, right? I have a CTO, like, who is the person in tech, but I have had to learn a lot about technology, about code myself. I am more on the product front, right? So I understand how to design products, and then I understand how to make that products a vision that's like an actual solution, right? Because it's different from just building and coding a product to doing that. But yes, I had to have a partner like that who has been with me, and we have had success in creating some things, but yet to actually blow, you know.
Yeah, I get it. Mr. Santi, did you have to learn how to develop?
Not well. I did learn to develop, but not because I needed to. Okay, so not because I think, and one of the things I think tells, especially in Ghana, is we have technology entrepreneurs and then technology company owners. I think that's the two things that I've seen in Ghana. The drive, for instance, when Isaac is speaking, you can see that there's the understanding of technology and applying technology to problems. And then you have those who just want to run a technology company because it's hip. Okay, so there are two different ones there.
Okay.
You do not need to code to be able to run a technology company, but you need to have the drive and understanding of how to apply technology to the problems that exist.
Okay.
And so we've actually, I mean, a lot of technologists in Ghana now are into the fintech area. We've moved on from fintech into community products, where we're providing technologies that we see will answer problems in the future. So now we're looking at, okay, 2 years from now, based on what's happening, based on what technology guys are doing now, what's going to be the need? And then we divide or we develop products that should be mature by the time we get to that point. So that's kind of the things that we do from that perspective.
He said from the beginning that one of the key points in making Kasante Business Solutions successful was to make the early employees part owners. Was that your experience as well, Isaac?
Well, it's very popular in tech. There's something called equity, right? That you distribute equity as part of the ownership. it's very popular in tech to have your founding team theoretically to be co-owners. So you give them equity to do that, and I guess it's all about selling the vision to people and getting them to understand that we are playing a long game here, right? And you can start off a career at some fancy bank or some fancy institution here, but this is the problem space we're trying to solve. This is our vision. If we succeed, this is the possibility for you, an outsized possibility usually. And if we don't, actually, this is a reality. But it's about you to say, I believe in this guy. So it's usually around the founder, right? I believe in the founder, and I believe in the problems, and I believe in their ability to execute. And when I bring my skill set, that's probably going to be a success. So yes, I mean, I have given equity to my team members and my co-founder. That's the only way, because I could never pay Kingsley, my CTO, who is very, very good. I could never pay him what he's actually worth, right? So you need to make that fundamental to your business, like. And although this is mainstream in tech, I would advise people who are trying to start other non-tech, more traditional businesses to actually also do that. It reduces people's liability, possibility to stealing, etc. Because if you do, it's kind of it's our business, right? Exactly, yeah. Right. So, yeah, you making people feel like they are part owners on it. Because the truth is, apart from people who are just naturally diabolical, the people who are more likely going to do something bad against you are people who feel that they are not being treated right. Exactly. So that assuages that problem.
Because you are both in tech, I'm going to ask another tech question before I continue. Does a tech entrepreneur have to be a maverick to succeed? Elon Musk, Steve Jobs.
But I mean, I wanted him to go. But there are thousands of people who are not Elon Musk, and they have successful. And again, what is success, right? These people are. I mean, I've always said, right, since I was like 17, 18, I don't know where I got that from, because, Charlie, if you're not in I don't know what kind of delusions of grandeur I was harboring, but I was very young, like when I was in high school, I was always said, it's going to make a couple of millions, even billions. And I'm still 28, and obviously I'm getting a lot of reality checks. but I still think it's possible to make that outsized return, right? I mean, there are some people who started their businesses in their 30s still, and they make huge. Recently, there's this Nigerian infrastructure person, right? Forgotten his name, who got bought by BlackRock, and he became a billionaire in his 70s, right? So that is still possible.
Yeah.
But the truth is that the conception of billionaire, even as I speak, having been exposed, I don't think I truly understand the conception of what $1 billion is, or what the possibility of what $1 billion is. It's a lot of money. You don't need to become a billionaire to become successful.
Yeah.
Especially in our context, right? If you are listening and watching this, the people who you see that have so many cars in their house and all of that, which, for some people is their demonstration of success, those people they are nowhere near billionaires. They were nowhere near billionaires, right? So you can see billionaire is like ridiculous amount of money, inconceivable. In fact, for the most part, before the 20th century, right, that billionaire space literally didn't exist for the most. It's just like a tiny 0.00001% of people that had even thought of that possibility. And now we are talking about people past 200 billion, which was never conceivable, right? But it's going to happen. My point is that you don't need to become that, especially in Ghana. If you had $1 million in Ghana, you're going to live like a king. You're going to live like a king, right? And you could do so many things in Ghana. And that is actually not impossible to do in Ghana. Probably you can start a bread business and become a millionaire in Ghana. It's all about distribution at the end of the day, how far your product reaches, how you're able to scale your operation. So yeah, you should be able to tone down your ambition to the reality of your circumstances, unfortunately. And maybe next time, if I'm born in Silicon Valley, maybe I can.
You never know. You never know.
Let me add to that, the maverick question itself. I think that to be a tech entrepreneur, you do need to have an element of maverickism, if you like.
Yeah.
Because the tech area itself is just about, like you said, breaking things. And you have to see beyond the problem or even beyond the success of today to be able to build something that is unique for the future. So it's more about being a maverick in the sense that you recognize success beyond success. There are things that work today, but you need to break them to make them work better. And that takes a certain kind of person, a certain kind of attitude to make it happen.
A certain kind of yeah, because you should, if you are not comfortable with the status quo and you want to break it, then you are not one of us.
Yes.
Because all of us are in the thing, we're seeing it every day, we have no problem. Then you come back and say, I'm Isaac, I think we should break it and redo it. Something is wrong you.
I mean, it's about...
So, and that's one of the biggest problems I see in Ghana. I mean, people don't easily accept change when it comes to technology. They may conceptualize the benefits, but it's very difficult for them to accept that as something that they can actually use. So you find that you have a problem that would, you have a solution that will cure a problem very easily, but the very people suffering that problem are very reluctant to use that solution. And they will do everything because it's not what we do. Effectively, this is not,
don't come change it. We are comfortable with what it is.
Just to add to that, it's just if you've watched a kid who was born in the 2020s, right, and you see their natural affinity to using phones, it will just tell you what he is saying, right? People were born in a different time, and unfortunately, so in the Western worlds, their affinity to technology has been long coming. For us, it just came, sort of, right? Looking at the time span, so people are still easing to the reality of technology, and especially for our mothers and our fathers who were born in certain times, it's just difficult for them to. But eventually, we'll get there. We will get there as people ease onto the technology. So I think when you are building technologies, you need to find something called UX. User experience is just at the core, right? So you have to find a way so that you build it in a way it's natural to the user. Maybe they do something in their daily lives that is not technology driven, but it's akin to the use of the technology, such that it becomes natural to them. But if you, some child who's like 5 years right now could probably use Facebook more than that. It's because they were born in a world where our whole psychology is technology driven. Everybody uses technology. They see it and it becomes. This is the reason why, I mean, someone who is 15 is probably better at TikTok than I am, right? Because my generation is a little bit.
You're a bit older.
Yes.
I mean, I had a reality check this weekend at home, and it taught me exactly what Isaac is saying, that I'm so much from a different time. I can't understand my boy. So we're home and we're in the hall, and so I have a girl and a boy, and 15, 11, and 15 is in the kitchen working. So the mommy sends a small boy, go tell your sister to do ABC, and I could hear the argument in the kitchen. I won't do it. Mommy didn't send me. You are lying. And I'm just sitting there working. So the boy comes back. I'm not looking at him. So he goes to mom and said, when I told her, she didn't listen. He goes back and they say, I won't do it. So they are fighting. Then the boy comes back and looks at the mom and says, Mom, I forgot what you actually said. What did you say I should go and tell her? So the mom repeats the whole instruction. Apparently the boy was recording on his phone. So he now rushes in the kitchen and say, this is what mommy said.
Exactly.
In the house. Charlie, it wouldn't have occurred to me.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like they can't do anything without the phone. So you are saying that the era also helps in either encouraging or discouraging. Interesting. Mellow Technologies, have you tried raising funds from this economy? How easy, how difficult? Was it a possibility?
So, and I'm happy. One of the reasons why I took the platform is that I want to put a lot of reality checks to young people like myself, right? If you follow the African tech space, there's a lot of fundraising out there. If you're listening to me and you are not born in a family that's rich, that has people that have relationship with people who are already in VC, right? Because And if I knew this earlier, it would have helped me, because I started working from the non-profit space when I was school and all of that, and I've done great work there. Like, people who are there in the spaces I have been in, they respect the work I have done. They will recommend me everything. But I should have probably played my cards very well if I had known I would land here and build relationships in that regard. Because the people that you hear raising funds, unfortunately, the reality of African technology and entrepreneurship is that it's very family orientated. And I've seen it so many times to know that it's somebody's cousin's friend, sister, who has a VC fund, and they distribute the monies to those people, and there is less. And this is not to say these people are not talented people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
They could be talented, could be brilliant, could be solving very important issues. But your affinity to those spaces are what they call warm intros, right? And the warm intro is basically somebody who you know who is making that. And so if you come from my background, for example, it's going to be difficult for you to find
yours to be very cold.
Exactly. There's going to be a lot of cold emails, and there's going to be a lot of cold shoulders.
I can understand. But I mean, don't we have financial institutions?
Oh.
Are they not helping the entrepreneurship ecosystem?
So, if you want to borrow at this, the lending rate I think is around 32-35%. That's a no-go, please. I mean, if you are telling me to come and receive money for whatever, and by the way, banks are not going to give you this money anyway. They're going to ask you for collaterals, right? And the way banks in Ghana give money is as if it's like this. And it's very funny, right? It's like, oh, you want $1 million? Okay. Then give me $1 million worth of property and take $1 million. And then if you really, really, really can sell the 1 million, why don't you just sell the property and take the money? Or sometimes they'll actually say, you want 1 million? Oh, okay, then give me 75% of 1 million, let me give you 1 million. I'm like, how does that work, right? So no, financial institutions, banks are a no-go. If you're listening to me and you're an entrepreneur, you already know this, right? You already know that banks are not funding. What we are building eventually, one of the things we want to do is to solve credit, right? And credit is just funded on data, right? A lot of what happened in Ghana's banking crisis is because banks didn't fund businesses and overfunded the government such that when the government could not pay back, they collapsed, right? So now it's for the government to even create an index of basically an allocation of how much money they should do to give to government and how much money they should give to it. And they are still not doing it because it's just profitable and safe for them to give to government and, you know, buy government bonds, fund government projects.
I mean,
so essentially, I mean, this cuts across anything a credit. Auto loans doesn't exist because how do you expect someone to pay 1/3 of the money every year that you're giving to them? That's ridiculous. In the US, car loans right now are at about 7 to 8%, and that is APR yearly, right? And that is the highest in the US history. Ours is 35%, 5 times that. Come on. That's not
I mean, I worked in banking for 10 years, so I feel very offended.
But that is the reality, though.
You should. I mean, that's what I mean. I said this earlier before, but I think that there's a general lack of understanding of an entrepreneur, especially by the banks. The banks do not understand entrepreneurship. The banks do not understand. I won't even talk about technology. You simply do not understand business. You're good at receiving and collecting money, but you're not very good at investing.
Nope. This is the reason why Ghanaian banks, you know,
banks don't invest. Yeah. I mean, what they do is buy bonds, and I have a lot of good friends in banking. They're going to whip me after this.
Yeah.
The reality.
That's the reality.
They
I mean, the statistics are there. They will come and say, "Oh, this year we made this number of things." How many did you put in the businesses? They don't. I mean, because actually, if they did, there are a lot of liquidity, marginal liquidity differences in business operations, even at the market that they could take advantage of. They just don't understand it. Banks in Ghana, I'm sorry, but I've spoken to a lot of them. They don't understand how business works. Full stop. They don't understand entrepreneurship, and they could take advantage. So, like I'm saying, hopefully, if some of us succeed, we can tap into some funds outside, come and bring a new financial institution, a new credit system that actually funds businesses, because these businesses, they will pay back. they will pay back. There are so many guardrails that you can put there to make sure that they pay back, right? So that is not the problem. But these businesses are not going to, any business that's going to take a loan, if you're going to take a loan that is at 35%, you should be making an interest around, like you should be making 90%, 60, 75%, because, and nobody makes that. Nobody makes that margin. Nobody makes that margin. Not even technology companies that have 5 developers and are having 100,000. Nobody makes that margin. So it's banks don't fund, full stop. And so the other things that exist for you are so-called VCs, grants, and all of that. Angel investors. Also not a reality in Ghana, unfortunately, because especially in tech, the people who are old and have money, they don't understand technology. And the way that technology works is that technology is actually, unfortunately, a pure bet, especially at the early stages. And so you want to identify problem spaces and individuals that you think can succeed at it, and you want to give them a period of time. But if you speak to somebody in Ghana and they want to invest in a business, they are saying, in the next 12 months, how can I get my money? That's not how technology works. Nope. It doesn't work like that. And so I understand that people are more akin to doing, and for more traditional businesses, the options that exist for them are, your friend, all of that. We don't have any investment market in Ghana. Like, people don't understand that, and people are very perjurious. If they're going to give you money, they're going to demand a ridiculous amount of equity from you and all of that. So at the end of the day, for some of us, it's vibes and inshallah and going through it and finding ways to fund our own thing, right? And then maybe when we get massive traction, right, maybe eventually it will be noticed by some VCs, all of that. But there are some, this is the reason why I encourage, right, and my voice probably means nothing, but Ashesi University is doing a very good job at incubating companies, right? They need to think very hard about how they are going to pull in, because institutional investors, the trust is very easy. So use your institutional trust, right, to attract investors. You set up a program, they've set up a couple of programs, and then they are training them. Dear University of Ghana, please do a better job at doing that and making sure that you are incubating talent and all of that. That post that I did yesterday on Twitter just shows me, and I went to a lot of the pages of these young people, and oh my God, they are brilliant developers in Ghana. All of them have a yearning desire to start something. They don't know what to build, so somebody needs to teach them the process of how to build and identify soft problems, and somebody needs to fund them just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. We are having competitions in Ghana, and we are giving $1,000, $5,000. People don't understand what it takes to build technology, because $1,000, $5,000, that's AWS. Yes. AWS, that's what I'm saying. Like, how much do you pay for that? So people think that is money. I'm sorry, but in tech, that is not. That is not money. Like, how much are you going to buy an email for? How much are you going to buy a domain for? How much are you going to pay for service, right? And at the end of the day, there are a lot of ways to get some of these things for free. So the institutions should find a way to get these things for free, give it to people, give them a certain, I have a lot of ideas about it because I'm very passionate about this. Give them a certain leeway to build, experiment, and fail, right? We need to find more incubators. But again, there are dozens of incubators who are taking money and from the World Bank to do incubation programs in here, and they are just wasting the money, because they have no idea what they are doing. They are doing 6-week programs to train. You're going to train a developer in 6 weeks? Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
0544321019.
That's not how it works.
0544321019. That's a WhatsApp line. You want to join the conversation? Send us a message via the WhatsApp line. You can also call 0303-956641. 0303-956641. You want to join this conversation? Go on all our social media handles. Instagram, Facebook, X is at ZFMGH. On TikTok and YouTube is at Z Multimedia. The website is zmultimedia.com. Send us your messages. Join the conversation. We'll be ending pretty soon, but I want to find out from the two entrepreneurs, Mr. Christian Asante of Kasanti Business Solutions and Mr. Isaac Abu of Mello Technologies, questions concerning legacy. I want to find out from them. What legacy do you hope to leave in the Ghanaian business ecosystem? Let's start with Mr. Christian Asante.
Right. I think for us, we really want to transform the business environment in Ghana. We need to transform we want to provide technologies that provide the foundation for the changes that happen in the future. And so that's what we're doing. I mean, Isaac mentioned about AWS and emails and domains. We are providing that locally in cities, so that budding entrepreneurs can build their foundation, so that it can serve as a foundation for those who are looking to innovate and build those technologies that support the economy locally. So those are some of the things our legacy would be transforming the foundation or providing the infrastructure and the applications that give us a foundation to build better technologies and a better problem-solving environment.
Jerry, tell him that the University of Ghana has an incubation hub.
Oh, please.
It was outdoor on 16 February 2023, and the person has sent me a link, www.ug.edu.gh/news.
I've seen it. How many people?
Your alma mater has launched an incubation hub.
Okay. I mean, we'll see. I think, my problem with any of these programs, at the end of the day, right, it's not like I have no interest in wanting to clamp down on anything, right? The results are going to show the fruits of the labor. So we are going to see the fruits out of it. If it is successful, we are going to hear the stories, yes, right? So we just live to see. If we are not hearing the stories, then somebody in there, or if they are not seeing them, somebody in there has to have a reality check. Are we doing the right thing, and how do we restructure? And I think that is a very noble vision. For me, at the end of the day, whether I succeed in tech or something, I want to succeed at something, right? And I want to succeed in a grand way that I can make it easier for people like me from my background to succeed, full stop. And I want to be able to set up funds. I want to actually invest in people not that I don't know, right, who are not my family members, or who I think that they went to Harvard, and so they are probably more brilliant than people who went to University of Ghana. No, it's true. And that's how it works, right? And I want to make sure that we teach them how to build businesses, right? Right now, and we apply to something called Y Combinator. I don't know what is going to happen to that, but hopefully we get into it.
Hopefully you do.
Yeah, Y Combinator is one of the best. It's like the Harvard of entrepreneurship. It's the best incubator accelerator program in the world. It was because some people, right, Paul Graham, his wife, and some other people sat down, put $200,000 down, and said, "We are not going to do anything for people. We're going to sit down and bring people from Stanford, students from Stanford, at that time 8 companies, and we're going to put them together. We're going to incubate them for 3 months. We're going to teach them how to build business. We're going to help them break things, and we don't care if they fail. Our $200,000 can go into the bus." So I want to be in the space where I have hopefully more than that.
Enough money.
Yeah, and I can say, you know what? I trust these kids. They are brilliant. They've shown me for their past 10 years that they are willing to try things and fail. And I want to invest in them. And so I'm going to help them grow things. And I'm not going to, and if you're going to do that too, you are morally responsible because they don't know, to say, I'm going to take 50% of their company from day one. That's ridiculous, right? So I'm going to take a reasonable equity in them if they, and that's what some people do. Like there are other people who are trying to do some very good things. But then what best the Bible is that, oh, if you come into our program, you take 40%. I'm like, then I would rather go and find a job, right? So I will take reasonable equity and I will walk the path with you. I will give you the introductions that you need, because maybe when you go to a bank, they're not going to mind you. I'm going to be that face. I'm going to open the doors for you, and I'm going to make sure I succeed. And if you are successful, I take the pride in that. I pave the way for an innovation economy. That is it. Where are those people in Ghana? Currently, I don't see them.
Yeah. Okay, so we're still doing business in Ghana. We started last 24 hours. Yesterday, we started with the GIPC. Now we've spoken to 2 entrepreneurs. Tomorrow, we're doing taxation. We're bringing GRA KPMG into the studio. Gentlemen, taxation. What is our tax regime like for you personally? How are you experiencing it? I mean, the look on Isaac's face is priceless. Isaac, is Mellow Technologies already being taxed here and there?
So this is what I would say. Mm-hmm. I would say that what's that agency? NEIP was supposed to give a tax break to some young people. I want NEIP, if you can get them into the studio, to give us numbers of how many of those young people they've given tax breaks to, and what is the impact it had on their business. That's what I would say. Because I can tell you that I know a lot of people who have gone to NIP and they have not succeeded in getting that. So we are supposed to have some tax breaks there. If the government is going to talk a lot about technology, like our vice president, hopefully, potentially, potentially, incoming president talks a lot about technology. He has to really, it's not just going to China and paying $100 million for a GPS system that someone can build for 1% of the price, right? It's about building institutions and giving avenues for people to build things locally here, right? You have no idea what people can do in Ghana, and I think it's very disrespectful if we say a lot of words and do very little. So taxation, young people, people who are young and starting to do businesses, this is what I'll tell the government, that unless people have a certain threshold of revenue, don't tax them, right? Allow them to break things, because especially in tech, right? People can be building things over a couple of years, right? And because the processes are long, the technologies are long, they might not even make any money.
That's right. Yeah.
You have no idea how some of these institutions will be chasing those people.
Anyway, Mr. Asante, you have the last word. Taxation.
So I think to a large extent I agree with you. The field, especially when you look at technology, the incubation period is extremely long. And without tax policies that encourage technologies to keep on going, most of them are going to fail. And our problem is that the rest of the world is moving ahead with technology. So effectively, if you don't encourage technology to grow in our economy, then what's going to happen is that we are going to fall further and further behind.
Or we are going to pay hundreds of millions of dollars for other people too.
I'll tell you something. Most technologists in Ghana host their products outside.
Yep.
Most technologies in Ghana have technologies that rely on other technologies from outside.
Yep.
And that alone is a significant cost when it comes to trying to grow this ecosystem.
Plus a security risk.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So if the tax policies don't encourage you to continue to work towards success, then we are really, really not going to get anywhere.
We'll find out from them when they come tomorrow. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming through. We've been talking to Mr. Christian Asante. He's a CEO of Kasante Business Solutions Group, and Isaac Abua, who is a CEO of Mellow Technologies. Amazing, gentlemen, for coming through. We need to continue this conversation another day. Isaac will get us into trouble. Thank you so much, and have a great day, gentlemen. It's still Zed in the Morning right here on Z 101.9 FM. Coming up is what? Health and Wellness Tuesdays, and we have a doctor in the house.
You're tuned in to Zed 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
want to be fresh. Then you want to listen to this show. Tuesdays are exciting days. Why? Because Tuesdays are health and wellness Tuesdays right here on Zed in the Morning. Today, we're talking health and wellness, and we have here Dr. Kwenu. Dr. Kwenu is the Chief Executive and Medical Director of Edentia Phyto Medicare Center. Edentia Phyto Medicare Center. We have him here. He's going to talk about blood pressure. Dr. Kwenu is going to give us that lecture on blood pressure. And like we said, it's Zed in the Morning. It's more than a breakfast show. It's educational, informational, and still entertaining. Good morning, Doc.
Fine morning, dear.
Let's start with blood pressure. Why is it a big deal? Why should we be concerned about blood pressure? What is it, and why should we be concerned?
Thank you very much. And I extend my greetings to all the listenership of Zed. Yeah. In fact, this is my first time of entering here. I'm really, really impressed.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Zed would rock shoulders very soon with the giants in the radio system. No two ways about it.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Good. When you talk about blood pressure, it's a major concern because may I say, is one of the number one killer. A lot of people are dying out of it and they don't know. People wake up, sometimes they are fine, and suddenly they just pass off. And then we tend to attribute it to more superstitious things. So when we talk about blood pressure, it is mostly, it's a common something that happens to people and affect the blood arteries. Now, when we talk about arteries, we are talking about the blood vessels that carries the oxygenated blood, the nutrient, and then the hormones and whatnot, and distribute to the entire system. Blood pressure is also called hypertension. Now, if you have high blood pressure, that means the force of the blood pressing the blood vessels inside whilst the heart is pumping, especially when there is a blockage. That is what tends to cause this blood pressure. And blood pressure can be looked at as per two figures. When it is written, the top one, the systolic pressure, and then the down one, the diastolic pressure. The systolic pressure is where the heart is pumping the blood. And then the diastole where the heart is at rest, and then it's also enjoying the nutrient of the blood. Now, most of the times what happens is it is normally measured in millimeters of mercury, yes. And when an individual has a pressure maybe 130 over 180, then that means that there is some problem coming into the system gradually.
What is supposed to be the normal measurement?
Yes, the normal measurement sometimes it varies depending on certain conditions. In terms of if even somebody sometimes is sitting, the pressure taking can be of a different, standing can be of a different. Is it coming from a distance? Can be of has he or she received some kind of shock or maybe some easy and unsure about something. But a pressure of about 110 over 70 should be the best. Should be the best.
110 over 70?
Or between 120 over 80 or 70, yes.
So if you're listening and you went to check, and these days I see a lot of these things being done at the pharmacies, neighborhood shops and all that. Yes. So if you go and check and yours is not within this range, you should be concerned.
You should be concerned, but you can't just use one blood pressure checking at a sitting and then conclude that the patient is, or whoever has come to you is an hypertensive. You need to do it consistently to be able to determine that indeed your patient is developing blood pressure.
What causes high blood pressure?
There are a lot of causative factors.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of causative factors. The issue is lifestyle changes. Lifestyle can cause it. Now, when you see the human system is a wonderful structure given to us by God. And so when your lifestyle, taking excessive animal protein, salt excessively, alcohol, and then individuals who leave themselves and become obese, overweight, you tend to block the blood vessels. Excessive animal protein. Now, people don't know that when you take one egg, it gives you 200 milligrams of cholesterol. Now, cholesterol, yes, is in the individual's work is also very stressful. It's also another problem. Yes. And then we have the family line where they are the mother, the genetic connotations, yes, can also trigger it. Yes.
In your practice as a doctor, are you noticing an increase in patients that are coming to you with this BP issues? And is there a drop in the age of those coming to you?
Thank you very much. Yes, there is an increase, serious increase. And for now, a lot of people are dying out of this hypertensive condition. Like I mentioned earlier, it's a silent killer. And so now the age group, most times it is in the medical cycles, it is known and believed that men normally develop blood pressure very early, but the women are also catching up seriously. And in terms of the women too, during pregnancy, yes, they tend to develop blood pressure most of the times, get into certain levels where the legs, where there will be edema and a holdout, and then especially when their calcium level also drops, it can also trigger a very dangerous blood pressure for the pregnant woman. So it is increasing. And the youth today, the lifestyle of the youth, taking of alcohol, drugs, and whatnot is also causing a lot of problem. Lack of exercise, a whole lot. It is really increasing in the system.
So if someone came to you and you diagnosed a person as having this blood pressure thing or BP, what can it be cured? Can a person be cured of hypertension?
Thank you. Well, hypertension can be managed, but if it is a genetic connotation, due to genetic connotation in terms of the mother is hypertensive, the father is hypertensive, and then the children are also developing it, fine, it can be managed. Because there are certain conditions where maybe congenital health defect, like maybe the individual was born with certain heart problem, and right from infancy has been developing arrhythmia, abnormal heartbeat and whatnot, or blockages in the arteries and whatnot. All these things, you can't cure it, you need to manage it. You manage with medication, with diet, and advice to manage stress and all that. It goes a long way to help the patient. And the serious ones too, patients who are very serious and adhere to the advice, also sometimes you realize that they will reduce their medication. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
At Edensia Phytomedicare Center, you said it's behind former Central University,
exactly,
Mataiko.
Exactly.
At Edensia, you are heavy on herbs and the natural whatever it is.
Yes.
What advantage these herbal medicines and herbal medication got in terms of helping manage high blood pressure?
Thank you. Very interesting question. Now, the human body is a natural organism. And what I will want to say is the human body has the intrinsic ability to heal itself.
The body can heal itself.
The body can heal itself.
Without our help.
By taking the right stuff in terms of food. You see, the good God, out of his infinite nature, created us and created almost everything that will repair this body and allow this body to function very well. And he put all these things in the various fruit, vegetables, and whatnot. You understand? Now, so let's take, for example, orange. When you take in orange, the vitamin C and its nutrients and whatnot will help to increase and open the blood vessels. That is nitric acid. It will increase the nitric acid and then open the blood vessels. And so there will be a good circulation. Apart from the vitamin C assisting the body to fight infection, I'm just trying to explain something. Now, when you take in something like pumpkin contains beta-carotene, protein, zinc, and all these things goes in there to help the body to function. When a woman and a man meet during copulation, during sex, and then develop baby, now the food that the mother takes is what molds this embryo to become a full organism. Now, when the child is born, the child without teeth and tender stomach will need to feed on the mother's breast. The mother's breast contains the nutrients of the food that the mother egg.
Has eaten.
Yes. And so this goes on until the child starts taking porridge and whatnot, fruit, vegetables. And so that is what have grown you and I to this age. The food,
the natural.
The natural. And so if the systemic, that is, if the body is sick, then we have to visit back Mother Nature. Go back to the Mother Nature. And then do the proper things. Reduce your intake of salt. Reduce your meat and eggs. The fatty product, reduce them. And go more with the fruit and vegetables. And so at Edentia Phytomedicare, we'll analyze the patient, do the scan and all the laboratory whatnot. Then after that, we know what medication are you taking. We won't just say, stop your medication. That is wrong. Because at certain point in time, for example, somebody comes with a pressure of about 180 over 120 or 200, you can't tell the fellow to stop, go and take herbal medicine and stop your drug. You will kill the fellow. The patient has to be on this drug. Then after a period of hours, he comes back to the herbal medicine that have the natural anti-inflammatory properties that will be able to open the blood vessels, and that and many more, and calm down the nerves and whatnot, supply the needed amount of potassium to support the heart and the body cells to be able to utilize the food that the individual ate.
Doc, are you saying that it is what we are eating that is causing the problems we are facing?
Yeah, food is part of it, and then our lifestyle.
The food.
Yes. Have we ever sat down to think of, when I was very young, I recall, in the around the 50s, you hear the old ladies saying that when they hear about somebody with blood pressure, they say, yes, that is, it belongs to
rich people get that kind of sickness.
Yes. Sister, Madam lawyer's wife, that sort of thing.
Those kind of people were the ones getting.
That is it, because they believe that they are eating the fatty products and whatnot. You understand?
Okay.
Yes. Until recently, it has become a household kind of something. That is where the problem is. We know they are genetic ones, but the lifestyle and the food, because what you eat makes what you are.
What you eat makes what you are.
What you are.
So you're saying that if somebody came to you with a sickness, aside the herbal medication you would give the person, you would also recommend a certain diet for the person?
Exactly. Very, very important. Very, very important. Because what you put into the system is what will normalize your system, will work on your metabolism, and give you the energy. So you can't just pack anything into the system. If you are packing junk into your system, then automatically be prepared to reflect junk.
I'm saying this because the average person goes to the hospital. He says, I have ABC disease. They check and everything. Then they give you medicine. You go to the OPD, the dispensary. You take your medicine. You have your dosage. You go home. Nobody says, go and start eating fruits and go and... You go back to your old diet.
Yes, exactly.
So then what are we doing to our body?
Well, that is where the problem lies. Because you can't tell a patient who is hypertensive and then the cholesterol level is high, you don't advise the patient, and he goes back, and then in the morning he put about 3 or 4 pieces of egg together, tribum, and then with his bread spread with margarine and whatnot, and then the tea that he has even done, sugar saturated and whatnot, complicated something. That individual is in problem.
He's been told to eat so that he can take his medicine.
Yes, he can eat, but you can still eat without the fatty product. So starting, for example, in the morning, I want to take my food. I want to take a porridge or maybe a cup of tea. I have taken some few cabbage or maybe cucumber, some tomatoes, onions, and then I have steamed my green beans, added it to it, and then and then add it to my brown bread, right? And then with my cup of tea, it goes in. So here am I, starting my day very well with nature. Or maybe even before that, I take about 3 or 4 pieces of banana so that I will get the magnesium, the potassium out of it to help support my heart. You understand? Yes. And so when you take in these things, you see now when you take fruit and vegetables becomes your friend, there is always harmony in your system.
start your day with food and fruits and vegetables.
There was always peace in your system.
What about wache with all the things on it? I mean,
yeah, wache is okay.
Mm-hmm.
The beans, the rice coming together, perfect. Now, but the vegetables, I normally have a problem with the vegetables.
Okay.
The vegetables are okay, but these are food vendors. It's unfortunate in this part of our world, we are not educating our food vendors very well, because majority of food poisoning and water come from these salad because they don't wash them very well. So if they wash them very well in terms of the cabbage like this, you need to remove it leaf by leaf and rinse it leaf by leaf. You don't just take your cabbage, remove some few leaves, and then you chop it, and then you just put it in water, and then shake it, and no. Because some of the bacteria and whatnot may be under the distance. So you need to remove leaf by leaf. Your salad leaves or whatever, take time to wash it, enough water. Then from there, put it in the water, saturated salt solution. Let it stay in it. You can even add some lemon or vinegar if you don't have. Saturated. And then rinse it with another water very well. That is how it goes. Now, so with that plus wache, there's no problem. But when somebody have high blood pressure, now he or she goes to buy wache and take the pepper. After eating it for some time, he will start getting some pain around the heart region.
Yeah, some heartburn.
Heartburn. Because that pepper, they have used the oil they use in frying the fish, the chicken for a long time, which has oxidized into a certain different level, is what is used in preparing the shito.
Hey, Doc. Yeah, I like what you. Hey, okay. What is Doc saying?
No, it's okay. We need to come out and tell the public to know all these things so that our food vendors will do the right thing for us. That is all. It's good.
Interesting. Doc, so you are heavy on nature.
Yes.
You keep saying nature, the natural and all that. Let me also find out from you then. There are those who would say these local medications, we don't trust them. They even dosage has a problem. They will tell you take one tablespoon, another time take. How do you defend yourself when you are saying let's go natural? But there are those who are saying there are challenges within the natural herbal space.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. But that is not the order for today. In my outfit, Identia Phytomedicare, we are doing everything scientific. All our medication, capsules and whatnot have their dosages. If it is 4 tablespoons. Now, people even, like you asked your question rightly, people go further to say that herbal medicine have been destroying the system, kidneys and whatnot.
Yeah. I've heard that.
No. Now, let me tell you today, all developed work, all medication across the hospitals, whatever, are either herbal extract from herbs, or are copies from nature. Now, and so there is no medicine that the white man sat down to do the analysis, neither copied from nature, he copied from nature. Now, when if I want to do maybe a particular preparation, and then I take carrot, and then extract the nutrient, either by decoction, by boiling, and so I extracted the nutrient from the carrot and use it to prepare a medication. And I tell you to take 4 tablespoons in the morning, 4 tablespoons in the afternoon, 4 tablespoons in the evening. How is this carrot preparation going to destroy your kidney? Now, may we ask ourselves this question. When a wife prepares fufu and palm nut soup, it's a complete herbs. All the materials in it are all herbs. The okra, the garden eggs, the beetroot, the palm nut, they are all herbs. Do you take 4 tablespoons of that herb to eat your fufu? You swallow almost about 500 ml of your palm nut soup. Does it destroy your kidneys and your heart and your blood vessels? What are we talking about?
Doc, wait. You are saying that if it is natural,
yes,
then we don't have to complain about overdose of it or what? Is that what you're saying?
No, that is not what I'm saying. when it is in the medicinal form, we know we concentrate the medicine.
Okay.
So that's why 4 tablespoons. I'm just giving an example. 4 tablespoons. Automatically, if you walk into a herbal center where the individual doesn't know what he was doing, and he tells you to go and do a jug full of medicine, he has given you 4 gallons. I mean, I won't give your patient 4 gallons for what? The size of the bottles are 330, maybe 500 ml. That is all. And you are taking 4 tablespoons 3 times daily or twice daily. There is no way this will go in to destroy the system. And so that is where the problem is. And we use fruit, we use tomatoes, okra, onion, pepper, chili pepper, the avocados, whatnot. These are the things we use in doing preparations.
But Doc, if this is what is going to help us, why are we not being told what you are saying now? Why do I still have to go to the drugstore and buy all these, in quotes, Western medicine, if our local natural remedies are the way to go?
Indeed, yes, thank you. I won't step against orthodox medication. No.
Okay.
They have a part to play. There are certain cases you need to marry the two, especially when the pressure is very high or somebody has a serious diabetic condition, the sugar level is high. You can't just use them. You need to go, the two have to marry together to bring peace. We are all Ghanaians. The most basic thing that each and every Ghanaian should do, whatever profession you find yourself, what are you doing as a service to Mother Ghana and to your brothers and sisters to be healthy and live a better life for this nation to move forward? That is the key. And so here you are preparing your medication. You must know what you are doing. And so there is the need where somebody will have to go and buy this thing and also be on the herbal supply. Now, if you go outside the developed world, if you meet about 100 people and you interview them, almost about 80% are on supplement. And you see the white man being very well. It's a supplement. And yet they are herbal extracts. You understand? They are herbal extracts. There are people who will tell you, me, I don't take herb. But to go to his office, this morning he's drinking green tea. But green tea is not herb. It's herb. He's taking some fruit and vegetables, a pineapple drink in the morning or whatnot. Me, I don't take it. What are you taking? You are drinking orange juice with watermelon and whatnot. You are drinking this as a fruit juice and you say you don't take. What are you taking?
Dr. Richard Kwenu is the CEO and medical director of Edensha Phytomedicare Center. Today we're talking high blood pressure, but he from the interview so far, you realize that he's heavy on the herbs and natural stuff. But he's saying that orthodox medicine also has this role to play. Yeah. However, your food must be heavy in the greens and in the fruits and all that. So that is for breakfast. Yeah. Can you give me, on average, Doc, this is not to diagnose anybody or not, but if you were to give me a cursory diet that you think is best for the average Ghanaian, from morning till evening, what would you advise? What do I start with from the morning and how do I end in the evening?
Okay, thank you very much. Now, somebody wakes up in the morning. Let's look put that category in group one. He wakes up in the morning and then he goes to buy cocoa with tea bread. Then in the afternoon, what will I eat? Okay, he goes to buy kenke and pepper and fish. Then in the evening, he goes again to buy banku and then the pepper. Automatically, that individual has eaten morning, afternoon, evening. But it's kabo at the third square. I mean, kabo times kabo times kabo.
Kabo raised to the power 3.
3, exactly. That is what I wanted. You understand? Good. So he will get whatever the body needs. But where are the fruits? Where are the vegetables? Yeah, somebody will say maybe the pepper, but the pepper no. And so somebody also, the group A, B, wakes up in the morning and he starts his day by drinking some water to flush the system. And then he takes in maybe banana or watermelon. And then he goes in with his porridge and the bread. Then in the afternoon, he prepares maybe vegetable soup with a bit of carrot, beetroot. You can add beetroot, tomato, and blend them together to prepare your soup or stew, and it goes a long way to help. And so there with some fish, and then he takes it with his maybe kenke in the afternoon, and then the midday he takes maybe some pineapple or coconut. You see, you are balancing. And then the evening, oh, what will I take? Okay, I have this soup there, I have this vegetable stew there. Let me take it with rice. If you want to enhance your rice, you can add some wheat to it to enhance your rice for fiber. That is also good. And then you cook, and then you put in your stew. And so in the evening too, if you want to take some fruit or something, you can prepare some fruit juice, maybe watermelon or something you take. So you have balanced the system. And if you continue like this with the food, you see, one thing about God is full of wisdom. Now, when we cook food, the heat tends to destroy some of the nutrients, especially the water-soluble vitamins and whatnot. And so God in his infinite wisdom has given us other fruit and vegetables that you won't cook them, but you take them raw, so that you will have that benefit of those that have been lost during the process of the food to balance.
Dr. Richard Kwenu from Idensha Phyto-Medicare Center. He's a CEO and the medical director. It's been an amazing conversation, Doc. We would have to bring you back here for conversation on the herbal angle, because I'm very interested there. Thank you so much for joining us here on Zed in the Morning. Thank you, and have a great day, sir. It's a minute to go. It's been an amazing day. The conversations have been very, very, very healthy. All too soon, it's time, 9:55. And as always, we say, before we go, pray like it only depends on God, but work like it only depends on you. This has been Zed in the Morning, and we're signing out. We do this again tomorrow, people. Have a great one.